If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252.
Mojo 50. The question isn't who's going to let us. The question is who's going to stop us. Adjust your mojo now. Thank you. The mothership has landed. Doc Thompson, Brad Staggs, the mighty Mojo 50.
Little bastards have been using us. All this time we've been used. They've been using us for our thumbs. Been using us for... It's just, I mean, it's really disgusting and disturbing when you find out that we thought that they were our best friend, and we now discover, thanks to scientists, that dogs have specifically evolved puppy dog eyes to be more endearing to humans.
Boom.
I mean, look at the face. If you're watching this right now,
that's a sad-looking face right there.
I mean, you just want to go up and squeeze a little boop on the nose. And look at those little sad puppy dog eyes. You just want to love them.
My dog has permanent puppy dog eyes.
Well, you know, they don't. The scientists have discovered, University of Portsmouth, scientists compared the anatomy and behavior of dogs and wolves. Their findings suggest the facial structure of dogs changed over thousands of years specifically to enable them to communicate with humans. Yep. They've done it intentionally. Wolves do not. There's apparently a little muscle in their, just above their eyes, allows them to raise their eyebrow, their inner eyebrow, which wolves don't have that. So, you know, I mean, you never see a wolf and go, oh, there's a little wolf. No, they want to eat your face.
Exactly.
But little puppies and dogs, domesticated dogs, they figured it out. They're like, ha, to the wolves. Dr. Julianne Kaminsky, she led the research. She said the evidence was compelling. Dogs developed the muscle after they were domesticated from wolves. So they turned their back on their wolven brethren. She says when dogs make the movement, it seems to elicit a strong desire in humans to look after them. They've been using us this entire time. I feel... I just, you know, with news like this, I'm not sure how I can go on the rest of the day. Animals are in the news everywhere. The next story I want to share with you is from Vietnam. A woman went into the doctor and had a little pain in her ear.
Oh, this is about to gross me out, isn't it?
No. I wouldn't. It's not going to gross you out. The doctor took the little endoscope, stuck it in the ear. Guess what was in her ear?
A spider.
A spider was nesting in her ear, and every now and then this pops up on.
Oh my God!
On Facebook.
Oh my
or
God!
Yeah,
look at that.
That there is a. You know, and I had to wonder whether or not this is real, but it appears to be real.
It looks real.
That little. I mean, that's the antithesis of puppy dog eyes, right? Spiders.
That's the stuff of nightmares, actually. Look at that.
That is,
I am out.
Yeah, if you start getting stuff like that in your ears, my father-in-law, years ago, he was out riding the tractor in, that's not a euphemism, by the way. He was out in the field, and I think a sweat bee, one of those little boogers just it burrowed into his ear. It got him so bad. He poured, I think was it kerosene? I think it was kerosene. Poured it into his ear just to get it out.
Kerosene?
I think so. Yeah, it was something. It was either gas or kerosene, one of those. Maybe it was whatever it was. It was like something you wouldn't normally pour into your ear. He poured it in. Said he got it out.
Did it injure him? Or hurt him or anything?
He grew up with polio, so he was pretty tough.
I guess.
I mean, but wow. It's bad when you You start pouring stuff like that into your ear just to get whatever it is out of your ear. Mm. But the doctor in Vietnam captured the video of the ear pain. Little bitty spider living in her ear. She was in the Hai Duong clinic in Hai Duong, Vietnam. They used an endoscope. They apparently they got the little booger out of there. And they used a light to lure it out and all the way out to the open, and then they stomped it. Another animal story for you. This one from Bangkok, Thailand. I don't know what they're feeding this thing, but whatever it is, it's called a dugong.
Dugong.
Yeah, it's a dugong, and it looks like a fat manatee, doesn't it? I mean, manatees and
it does. That's underwater, right?
I hope so. Either that or they got real bad air pollution over there.
Yeah, that's got to be underwater.
It looks like a
little sea cow.
Yeah, it really does. It's a they had to apparently they had to start feeding this thing because it developed an attachment to humans after it was separated from its mother and got lost off the southern coast of Thailand. They're hoping that they can one day send it back into the wild. What is it about Thailand? Wasn't it off the coast of Thailand that puppy a few weeks ago? They rescued the puppy.
The one that was swimming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the oil. I'm not sure what it is going on in Thailand. Maybe he was escaping the dog walk, as it were. It's a 5-month-old female dugong. Her name is Miriam. She's become an internet hit in Thailand after images of her showed up. She's feeding on milk and seagrass. It's a species of marine animal similar to the American manatee. Well, there you go.
There you go.
That's why it looks like a fat manatee, because it's related to the manatee. But it is fat.
Hell, I look like a fat manatee, but I'm not related to
You're
him.
not that cute, though. There's a big difference.
There is that.
She's kind of cute.
I can do puppy dog eyes with one of them.
Alligators, another animal in the news here. This is an alligator that was in a Miami Airbnb. And it was the cute thing about this is that the alligator ended up showing up on a pool float in their pool. Let's see if I can get to the image here. It's in the video. There it is. There's an alligator floating on a pool float.
How convenient.
And ironically, it is a pool float shaped like an alligator. So somehow the alligator, maybe it thought it was mama. An alligator floating on an alligator float. Now, I would initially say that this is staged, but whoever is dumb enough to grab an alligator and stick it on an alligator float, I'm rooting for the alligator if someone's that dumb. It's all those videos on YouTube of people sticking their arms and their heads inside an alligator's mouth, and you go, come on, bite down. Because if you're stupid enough to put your face or your arm inside an alligator's mouth, I am on the alligator's side at that point. There's another alligator found in Florida. This time underneath somebody's car. So you walk out to your garage and you're about to get in the car, and there is an alligator the size of this is what, probably 4, 5, 6 foot alligator. And they had to call wildlife and game, but that.
Oh, snap.
That's a reason.
That's a big old
That's
dude.
reason enough not to live in Florida, if you ask me. You come out one day and you're about to get in your car and that thing crawls out from underneath. Nah, thank you. Not going to do it. Not doing it.
But you don't look, if you live in Florida, don't you expect that that's going to happen?
No. Have you ever been around an alligator?
No.
Everybody close to him? We were in, what were we shooting? We were shooting
about
something
25 feet from it.
And there was an alligator on the, we were somewhere near water, and this alligator, I don't know, it was probably 30 feet away. And yeah, they look at you and, they tell you to run in zigzags that they
From an alligator?
Yeah, that they run back and forth because I guess they can't change direction that fast. They're fast, straight line, but
they can change direction pretty fast if they're sitting still, but I guess they can't if they're moving.
Yeah, if they're running. Yeah. So they say to run in a zigzag, and I figured all I had to do was outrun the people that were with me in that case.
That is the plan.
And then there's the story of the unicorn.
Yes.
The unicorn. That she right there is in the middle there. This is she says, I'm in a loving relationship with a married couple. That makes me a unicorn. Look at that guy. Is that guy a happy guy?
I'm in a relationship with a married couple.
Yes. This comes from England. Kathy and Thomas. What is the unicorn's name? I don't know. We'll call her Bambi. Why not? She is Kathy and Thomas's girlfriend. That right there, that is I see you staring at the screen in there, and you're just okay. I know, right? It's that's a unicorn right there. That is not possible. So apparently, this is a new thing in relationships where the man and the woman have a girlfriend, a mutual girlfriend, which always reminds me of, there was a song a friend of mine used to sing called "The Day That My Wife Met My Girlfriend." It wasn't a good day.
Well, it was for this guy.
It was for this guy. I mean, they're both attractive women. He's not a bad-looking guy. There's got to be something wrong here. One of them's got to be a serial killer. This does not happen in real life, does it?
Well, no, I would think the wife is bisexual. That's the thing.
Right.
That's the only thing that makes that work.
So as the guy, aren't you getting up every day and goes, something's wrong here. This is
Look, Brad, this could be good, or
right.
It could be very bad.
Yes, very, very good, or very, very bad.
I always thought that is it polygamy or bigamy? I don't know which.
It's polygamy.
That would just be miserable.
Yeah, because there's enough of the blah, bitty, blah, bitty, blah, bitty, blah, bitty, blah. But Big Love, remember Big Love was on
Big
HBO?
Love, that's right.
And he's dead now, so there you go.
Oh, my God.
Bill Paxton is dead, isn't he?
So she's not a, quote, physical unicorn.
No, she is. She is the
unicorn. She is the thing that never happens to a dude.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That is it. They've been, Kathy and Thomas, been married for 8 years, married for 5. And this third woman, I don't know, they look awful happy. We exercise constant communication to ensure we're all on the same page. I don't know. This is not going to end well for him. I just have a sneaky feeling. Not going to end well.
We call it 3 times.
Yes, they do. Now that I have your attention, probably a good time to tell you that the next round of Doc Thompson stuff is up on eBay, and the second round went out in the mail yesterday. So if you are so inclined, you want to get your share of what we found in Doc's drawers, and we're going to ride that unicycle all the way into the ground. And there's just a few more things left. Actually, after this round that's on eBay, which we started everything at $20, same as downtown, and shipping has gone just crazy stupid. I mean, it's just awful.
So now not only do you have to pay the high prices, you have to pay the price for going in and dropping off the item at the postal service.
It is just horrid. So, nothing we can do about that. But, it's if you just do a search for Doc Thompson stuff, you will find what we have on eBay. And then the last, I think, few items, which are very cool and very iconic, I think we'll just do those on the air.
Let's do it.
I think we'll just
That'll
do
be
it.
fun.
Maybe you get one shot. We'll maybe give you, if you decide how much you're willing to pay over $20, and you email that amount. So you get one shot at it, and after 3 days, we take the highest number. That seem fair?
Yeah.
And that way we don't have to pay eBay the expensive fees, because
we could do a live auction, couldn't we? Can you talk like an auctioneer?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe. I guess if you paid me enough and I wore a French maid's outfit.
There you go.
But we'll get those out there as well. Jack Hole Drake's 1371 just said found in yes. Sorry. See, here's the thing. We're filling in again today for Chris Salcedo on Newsmax, so we got to get all of our fifth grade humor out of the way in the first hour. That way we don't feel, the need. We don't get overloaded with the desire to drop it on the Newsmax audience. Because I just feel it's like having your parents come over for dinner. So you feel like you have to be on your at least better behavior until you get to know them, and then you can start dropping the dick jokes.
Yes. It's like standing out in the hallway before you go into a college classroom.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing. So it's, just trying to be good stewards of.
We're waiting for class to start.
Yeah.
Class starts in 40 minutes.
Because it was Chris who, recommended to Newsmax that they use us as the fill-in, and we don't want to cast aspersions on his character.
Correct.
And so, we're just trying to be.
And then the poor guy next week, he doesn't even know who we are. The guy we're sitting in for next week.
Is that we doing it next week too?
It's the end of next week. Yeah.
Wow. So they haven't. Well, technically,
that remains to be seen. Actually, I think
we're the only people who would do it for nothing.
If we get through Friday, we're good.
It's right now somewhere at Newsmax. They are scrambling to find somebody. We got to find somebody else to fill in for them. I don't know.
They're watching us right now. Actually,
and wondering what in the hell. Why can we not find somebody else? I don't know. Stinky said, so the unicorn's name is Paige. Is it Paige? I don't know. Maybe. I'm just saying it's not that unicorn story is not going to end well. Lusty Jill Hole has a sister named Allie. Lusty Jill Hole.
I saw Lusty Jill Hole sitting on a Harley Davidson motorcycle.
Did you?
On the web yesterday, which means she has made an appearance now.
Where is she? We still don't really know who has, or do we know?
Physically, I don't know where she's at. I just know she was sitting on a Harley Davidson over the weekend.
And
it was a nice bike. Whose bike is that? Somebody text me. Let me know whose bike that was.
And somebody wants to. Are there demands? Are we supposed to send them money?
I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the latest edition of Whiskey Six Theater.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. If you adopt a healthy lifestyle that can save you money. I mean, everybody thinks about a healthy lifestyle just making you, you're healthy and you're not getting sick all the time. But they say a healthy lifestyle can actually save you money. Eating healthy foods costs slightly more upfront, but research suggests you could save big in the long run. According to the CDC, if you reduce your overweightedness by 10%, it could cut your lifetime medical costs by as much as $5,300. It's good for your career if you are healthier. Because you can apparently, you're more likely to get hired, I guess. And if you are healthier, you are more productive at work. Research from Torque shows that employees who set their work aside during lunch perform better during the rest of the day. Study found that not only did 90% of workers feel refreshed after a lunch break, 81% of employees who take regular lunch breaks want to be active members of their company. Healthy lifestyle will brighten your outlook, so you'll feel better about life in general. And how do you get the healthy lifestyle? You join the Healthy Lifestyle Challenge from therichsolution.com. It's actually over on their Facebook page. It's the Doc Thompson Healthy Lifestyle Challenge, and it's just a kind of a support group if you are trying to make some healthier decisions in your life. Really all it is. And because it's always nice to have not only support, but accountability if you're trying to, just maybe if you're trying to cut down on sugar. It's just a way for you to have some support and get some ideas from other people. So if you are trying to make a positive change in your life, try the Doc Thompson Healthy Lifestyle Challenge over on Facebook. And it's, of course, with the Rich Solution at therichsolution.com. Now, at the other end of that spectrum, we have the MeWe chat room. Let's be frank in Pennsylvania over there. And I apologize for not paying attention to you yesterday. It's just, same old excuse. It's just my hands are full. I do have big hands, but they're not that big. Did he just say we don't know who had her? Do we know if it was consensual?
There is that. I sent you that picture.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one before. There it is.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, what does that say?
What I learned today, Real Brad says we have a sighting of El Jefe's bar wench at Lusty Jill Hole. She's escaped the clutches of the angry beaver. So she was in the angry... Really? Okay, so she's gotten away, apparently, from the angry beaver, and now she will... it's got to be hard to operate the throttle of a motorcycle with claw hands.
With claw hands, that's right.
Lobster claw hands.
It's a nice street light.
Yeah. And you really have to strap yourself in when you weigh as little as Lusty does.
She gets blown all over the place.
Which, ironically, you'd think she'd be the one doing the blowing. But... yeah.
Fifth grade humor.
Yes, it is. And again, we have to get it out of the way before we before we invite the Newsmax audience. And just because, I don't know if you saw the headline that the president says that ICE will begin removing millions of illegal immigrants. I don't guess they've. I think that they will start this next week. He said it yesterday. They're going to try to start deporting people. Process of removing millions of illegal aliens who have illicitly found their way into the United States. This was a tweet, and sometimes you have to take the president's tweets with a grain of salt because I think he floats ideas out there.
He's a great big troll.
Yeah, he is.
He will troll anybody.
Yeah, he says they will be removed as fast as they come in. He did not offer any specifics. The number right now that they keep throwing out is 12 million illegals in the country from Mexico and Central America. A deal reached earlier this month. Mexico has agreed to take Central American immigrants seeking asylum in the United States until their cases can be heard in U.S. courts. The agreement, it included Mexico pledging to deploy National Guard troops to stop Central American immigrants from reaching the U.S. border. That was a deal, of course, that was reached to avert the tariffs. And everybody thought, tariffs, bad idea. But, every time he does something and it works, the mainstream media just completely ignores it or tries to come up with a reason that it wasn't what he was, it wasn't him. Wasn't the president that made this happen. That was a deal that happened months ago.
They absolutely lose their minds. That's what happens.
They hate it.
And then it becomes the topic of discussion in every news platform out there, including Fox News. Don't get me wrong. When he's trolling people, the dude makes comments all the time. And of course, this interview he did with George whatever his name, Stephanopoulos, is catching a lot of grief right now.
Yeah, it is. And he, his aide? This was the story over on CNN. Jeannie Most, and Jeannie Most does a lot of the kind of the lighthearted stories, but here's a little piece of it.
Wipe your nose. Don't wipe it near this guy.
I'm also very much of a germaphobe.
And if you cough during an interview...
But at some point, I hope they get it, because it's a fantastic financial statement.
Prepare to be thrown out like a used Kleenex.
And let's do that over. He's coughing in the middle of my answer. Yeah, okay. I don't like it.
Okay, and everybody got on him about that. He kicked out his aide. You know what? I don't blame him. I would have done the same thing. Remember,
he wants to be viewed in the proper light. The guy's been on TV for years.
He knows what they are going to try to do when they interview him. He knows what they will try to do in the edit bay. He knows that they will try to cast the worst light on him that they possibly can. And so he wants it to be, he wants to control the environment as much as possible in the interview. I don't blame him.
He did say, get the hell out.
Yes.
If you're going to keep doing that, get out.
Your chief of staff. If you're going to cough, please leave the room.
Not some intern, but acting chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney.
Okay.
On the bright side, Kim Jong-un would have had him killed.
There is that.
Jeannie Most does come up with some good lines.
She does.
So he was trying to control the environment in the interview. And remember, he comes from a background in the past few years of television production. He taped the
it's not a pretty
years.
sight behind the scenes, is it, Brad?
It is not.
You come from the TV world.
And it is, I'm telling you, you've got it's like mass chaos behind the cameras. And when you have distractions like that, I would be totally with him, because you want a clean soundbite. And you don't want to have some guy coughing in the background, because you know what? If the yeah, exactly. If the guy had coughed,
I had to do it.
I know. If they just imagine if they had released the if they'd left the cough in there, and what they would have said, what the mainstream, they would have said, you know what that is? That's his chief of staff coughing because he doesn't believe what the president's saying.
Right. He was like,
right. Yes. Yeah. That's what they would have done. So it was a no-win scenario for the president. He could, if he had left it in there, they would have said that it was.
He was coughing in my answer. If you're going to cough, get out.
Yes. And again, I don't blame him. The guy, he catches it from every side. I really don't understand how he does it every day. I don't. It would Man, I would be in the fetal position on the ground if I were the president. It just
the crap just rolls off his back. He doesn't. He's been in business and probably in TV. Both help him with this.
But this is the most.
He doesn't give a damn.
This is the most pressure. It has to affect him on some level, doesn't it? I mean, he's a human being. I don't know. Maybe if he's
if you could go home to Melania every night, knowing that when you left the White House, the Oval.
So many lines.
I know.
Too bad. I only have 4 seconds left. Saved by the bell. This is your Daily Mojo.
Happily promoting the 4 F's: freedom, faith, free markets, and fun. Mojo 50.
For many of you, trusting an academic study has become a thing of the past. If you're not on that train already, I present a study done by Christopher Levinsky and Joel Malin, in which they assert school vouchers hurt academic achievement of students in Washington, D.C. Importantly, they made the claim that, quote, the latest evidence tells them exactly that. There's just one problem. That's not what the actual latest evidence says at all. Instead, they cherry-picked results from the first and second-year performances and conveniently left off third-year results, which were published some 3 weeks prior to that piece in question being written. You mean to tell me that wasn't enough time to study the results and figure out how to rework your own work? As for the third-year results themselves, it turns out students who used the Washington, D.C. vouchers scored 0.1 percentile better in math, and in reading it was 2.1 percentile worse. Both came up as, quote, not statistically significant to the impact on student achievement according to the original study. You see that third year is actually critical to closing the achievement gap that does exist between failing public schools and their counterparts. But these researchers had an agenda and chose to flat out ignore those results which didn't prove their narrative correct. Additionally, the DC raw numbers point out a 5.4% decrease in the chronic absentee rate for voucher recipients, with that number jumping to a 15.2% decrease for those in grades 6 through 12. Furthermore, student satisfaction saw an 8.4% jump for those receiving an education at voucher schools. Yet all of that was ignored or given as a side note for these researchers. Test scores are all that mattered to Levinsky and Malin, no matter how flawed they've proven to be over the years. But that's a whole different part of this debate for another day and another avenue of talk. I'm Andrew Coppins. This has been By the Numbers, and you can follow me on the socials at The Coppins Show.
By the Numbers with Andrew Coppins is powered by Patriot Mobile, America's only conservative cell phone company offering super reliable nationwide service, donating a portion of their profits to organizations fighting for our conservative values. Call 1-800-A-PATRIOT or visit patriotmobile.com.
The Daily Mojo.
Okay, that's the picture that I remember seeing, the one that Jackal Angry Beaver just tweeted. Yes, Brad Staggs, I had Lusty Jill Hole. See, that one is... I don't even want to know what was... Actually, yes, I do want to know what was going on.
What was going on?
Actually, I'd like a detailed description, a blow-by-blow, if you would, of everything that happened there. Stephen Airy just tweeted, hashtag what I learned today, a Trump tweet is almost as fleeting as a dock drive-by. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's debatable, but...
You always give him at least 24 hours. Before you take any action.
See, I didn't know that at the begining.
I believe I was the one to inform you.
You probably did, but after about 5 drive-bys, and then us jumping through hoops to try to get docs.
Never do that.
Oh my God!
Never do that. You always have to give them 24 hours because in 24 hours you'll go, "Hey, I got that thing done." You huh?
Doc's like, "What are you talking about?"
What do you mean? I didn't. Did I? I wanted that. Laurie F&D said support group for bad decision, hashtag MojoCon 2020. Wow, are they already planning that?
Dude, they were planning that when they were here. Where are we going to do it next year? Where are we going to have this next year?
They are on top of things. And SK Thompson just tweeted hashtag what I learned today. And by the way, use that hashtag so that we can find you. Finally, at Rocky Stucci is making cigars. Maybe we'll finally get a Monica. All right. Works for me. Now, I don't know who sent this book. John Thompson. I'm assuming, and I apologize if we've probably met. Maybe we haven't. It's called How to Kiss a Fish by John Thompson, and he signed it. Thanks for the entertainment. Signed John Thompson.
It's Brad, is that the John that you guys went to see over at the you and Doc went to see him, didn't you, over at What's the name of that place over by the Gaylord? Wolf
Lodge.
Lodge.
I didn't go that day actually. Somebody,
you did?
No,
Okay.
I did not.
Maybe it was you and Pat, or him and
I think
Patrick.
it may have been he and Patrick. Anyway, it's called How to Kiss a Fish by John Thompson. And I think it's a nice little kid's book. George has a family. He loves them very much. He shows them how much he loves them every day. George loves his mom. He snuggles with her and she reads him stories. He loves to give her lots of hugs and kisses. George loves his dad. Dad plays with him every day. George loves to give his dad a big hug and a big kiss when he gets home from work. George loves his sister. He shares his snacks with her at the movies. He loves to give his sister lots of hugs and kisses. George loves his grandma and grandpa. They read his favorite books together. He loves to give them lots of hugs and kisses. George loves his dog and his cat. He plays with them every day. He loves to give them lots of hugs and kisses. Oh, and George loves his fish, Finny, too. Finny the fish was a special gift for his birthday. George wants to show Finny how much he loves him, but how? He cannot snuggle with Finny like he does with his mom. He cannot play games like he does with his dad. He cannot share his snack with Finny like he does with his sisters. He cannot hold Finny's hand and read his favorite books like he does with his grandpa and grandma. He can't even play with Finny like he does with his dog and his cat. Then George had a great idea. He can feed Finny every day. He'd help his mom change the water in his tank. He can even use his tooth fairy money to buy new toys for Finny's home. George started to realize he can show Finny his love by taking care of him every day. This made George think about what he learned in Sunday school class. George loves Finny. George loves God. Like Finny, George cannot give God hugs or kisses, or play games, or play fetch with God, but George knows that God wants us to take care of one another every day. How can you show God's love every day? It's as easy as kissing a fish. Give thanks to the God of heaven. His love endures forever. That's a very nice little book. Thank you, John. And a good message, too. Sometimes I think we forget that. Sometimes it is the little things in life.
That little book's illustrated, too.
Yes, it is. And I don't know who did the illustrations.
Doesn't say on the back?
Nope, it does not. But it's called How to Kiss a Fish. Very nice. Again, very nice message. Speaking of messages, you will not find advertisements in the messages in the United Kingdom. Starting, I think this ban started on Friday. They are no longer allowing any advertisements that pigeonhole men and women. And by pigeonholing, anything that depicts harmful gender stereotypes. What would a harmful gender stereotype be, you ask? Well, men struggling with the housework or women unable to park a car. They will be banned from now on. It sounds like a joke, doesn't it? The new rule stipulates ads must not include hackneyed portrayals likely to cause harm or serious or widespread offense. See, that's where you get in trouble. What is offensive? I had what
was it that Doc used to always say about offensive?
The only way you can be offended is to
be offended.
To be offended.
Yeah, you choose to be offended, and nobody gives a damn about your feelings.
There was in one of the contracts I had to sign with the Do-It-Yourself Network. They had the standard moral turpitude clause in it. You know, if you go out and embarrass us, we can fire you for whatever.
I remember this story, Brad.
And sitting at the I don't know, it was like a Shoney's or something. And we were sitting there, three or four of us were sitting there. And I think I said, I don't know what the hell's going on with something or other. And a guy behind us turned around and said, your language offends me. And I was like,
were you forced to make an apology?
No.
Oh,
no. I wasn't. I almost said, no effing way. Really? I mean, I was so shocked. It's like I had to go back through and think.
That's better than saying "shut the F up."
Yeah, that crossed my mind.
Nobody
too.
cares.
But I thought, what the hell did I say? And he was offended by the word hell. I guess I don't know. So, terming something offensive is really a slippery slope.
It's subjective.
Slope. Yeah,
it's subjective to the person who's offended.
That's why this is so dangerous. So they are not going to allow a man with his feet up while a woman cleans up the family's mess and girls being less academic than boys. They will have to tread carefully, they say, when contrasting a daring boy with a caring girl or belittling a man for carrying out commonly considered female tasks. Wow, like making sandwiches? So you can't show a man making sandwiches anymore? That's kind of crazy. The rule follows a review which found that some campaigns have the potential to reinforce harmful stereotypes and could in turn restrict people's choices, aspirations, and opportunities. I'm going to read that again because that is absolutely effing ridiculous. The rule follows a review which found that some campaigns have the potential to reinforce harmful stereotypes and could in turn restrict people's choices, aspirations, and opportunities. Okay, so if you are that easily swayed by a commercial that at least that's the way I'm reading it, that if you watch a commercial and it can actually dissuade you from going after something you wanted.
Right. Where'd you say this was?
This is in England.
Yeah, it's not in the U.S.
Remember, we kicked their ass in the war.
We did.
However, it could be here just as easily as it is there. That's the thing.
Let's dictate to everybody in England how they're supposed to feel when something like that comes across. Oh, no, let's just not allow it.
It'll not veto all forms of gender stereotypes, but falling short of calling for a ban on ads depicting scenarios like a woman cleaning or a man doing DIY tasks. The Advertising Standards Authority, otherwise known as the ASA, already restricts offensive ads and those that gender stereotype on grounds of objectification, inappropriate sexualization. Is sexualization ever inappropriate? And depiction of unhealthy thin body images. So you can no longer show unhealthily thin body images. The evidence from the review did not show that gender stereotypes were always problematic or that the use of seriously offensive or potentially harmful stereotypes in advertising was endemic. It added that the aim of the rule was therefore to identify specific harm that should be prevented rather than banning gender stereotypes outright.
See, Brad, that's one group over there trying to dictate how you dictate your freedom of speech, which they probably don't have over there, but we do over here.
Yes, they don't have their nifty little pocket constitution. But they do have the Queen. Yeah, as a Muslim, do anything might be offensive. Well, I'll just be over here counting my money. What does she do again? She just
nothing.
Sits around and God. But you know what? If they're taking applications to be Queen, I'm in. Put simply, we found out that some portrayals and ads can over time play a part in limiting people's potential. Those would be the stupid people.
Yep.
Those would be the people that are going to be influenced by, you cannot fix stupid. It's in the interests of women and men, our economy and society that advertisers steer clear of these outdated portrayals, and we're pleased with how the industry has already begun to respond. I'll bet they are. Advertising at its best should be a positive and progressive force in society. There is that word again. The new rule on tackling human gender stereotypes in adverts from the Committees on Advertising Practice is an important addition to the expectations we have for responsible advertising. Now, of course, you should, there's freedom of speech, and the way that they've described this here, this is just ridiculous. But again, that's what you get in a country that does not value individual liberties and freedoms. And that is the problem. Speaking of individual liberties and freedoms, did you see the Pakistani government had a meeting that was broadcast live on Facebook? And I don't know if somebody accidentally did it.
What did they do?
They turned on the cat filter.
Oh.
So these guys at this Pakistani meeting, it was a government meeting, very serious press conference, they say, turned into a fiasco Friday after the meeting was broadcast on Facebook Live with the cat filter turned on. So I don't know what he's saying, but they look very serious in that.
Somebody lost their job that day.
Oh, somebody. Remember, this is Pakistan.
They probably died that day.
They lost their head that day. Cat ears and all.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty funny. Secretary General Shakut Yousafzai.
I wish I had filters right now. I'd use them.
No kidding. We should use them on Newsmax. Secretary General Shakut Fufazi of Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, they have, you know what? There should be a ban on using that many consonants without the requisite vowels in a name. Their provincial government conducted the meeting completely unaware that he was sporting a pair of moving cat ears, a black nose, and whiskers as well. And can I just say that the cat ear filter on Facebook or Snapchat is absolutely genius? I mean, how they can... That right there is Western society at its best, because I guarantee somebody in America came up with that algorithm to figure out how to put cat ears on anybody. That is the beauty of a free society. That is the beauty of capitalism right there. The ability and the talent to create an app that...
I just did that camera switch, and I'm looking at you going, God, I wish I had a filter right now. I would flip through all of them right here on the screen.
It's,
But you know we're going to be getting pictures today. We'll get beat.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why I have this real... I'm going to just sit right there and look at the camera. Somebody will snapshot it.
Mm-hmm. Which one? Which camera do you want?
This one over here.
This one over here.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's your still. Now, it's something that actually I think Joe Biden could have used. He was speaking at a campaign stop. I get this is the hashtag Poor People's Campaign. Now, the Poor People's Campaign is it's a group. It's essentially it's a progressive group of individuals. Just do a little research on them, and you'll find that everything that they favor is pretty much on the progressive left. And they don't skip much of anything, including meals, if the indication is. I mean, they are not poor when it comes to feeding themselves. But here's one of the questions. I think that Joe Biden could have benefited from the cat ears on this one.
When will you go and spend significant time in the South and the Sun Belt to put a spotlight on these issues? How will you fight to win a new electorate of poor whites, blacks, Latinos, natives, rather than right off the South and the Sun Belt?
By the way, this reminded me of when Harvey Korman was giving the speech in Blazing Saddles. Rapscallions, scoundrels, thievery, rapists, rape. I like rape. That whole, when he gave the whole list of everybody that they were.
And lastly, how will your campaign and administration address the issues of poverty, low wealth, health care, low wages in a way that undermines the myth that these issues impact small, marginalized groups of people only, rather than all of us?
I want to answer for him. We'll give it all away. We'll just give everybody everything.
Weren't there about 8 questions?
There were. So it's always fun to listen to Joe come up with an answer.
Oh, I plan on campaigning in the South. I plan, and if I'm your nominee, winning Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, believe it or not. And I believe we can win Texas and Florida. If you look at the polling data now, doesn't mean it's a marathon. It's a long way off. If you may recall, Reverend, I'm the only person who went in and campaigned in the off-year election for the senator in Alabama. I was the only person invited down there to speak. Not the only, but I was the only one who wasn't a person of color.
Wow. I was the only white guy is what he was trying to say there. I was the only white guy invited down there. Boy, he is white, isn't he? Whew. Joe Biden is white.
Who was invited down. I spent a lot of time campaigning in North Carolina and Texas and around the country. I have no intention of walking away if I'm the nominee, and if I'm not nominee, I have no intention of walking away and trying to help whoever the nominee is to win those states.
Aha! And right then is where every other candidate bristled and thought, I don't want Joe Biden. I don't want him campaigning for me. Just like Joe Biden basically told President Obama, thanks, but no thanks. He didn't really want that endorsement.
Number one. Number two, as President of the United States, were I to be elected, I would make sure a number of things happen. Number one, we have to bring back the, what happened with the Voting Rights Act, as you well know, when there was a decision, the Shelby County case occurred. And it said that it's going to eliminate the requirement of you have to get pre-clearance to change anything dealing with your voting rights legislation, that anything that changes. The truth of the matter is...
Basically, what it was the fact that it infringed on states' rights. That's what he didn't say.
I thought we had made real progress. I was chairman of the Judiciary Committee, or the ranking member, when we extended the Voting Rights Act the last time for 25 years. It was 5-year increment. I was there and did it for 25 years. And at the time that happened, we had a unanimous vote, 98-0. All those Southern boys and women voted for it.
All those Southern boys. All those Southern boys and women. He notices there's women sitting across from him, and women too. They voted for it too. Forgot about y'all sitting over there. Can I sniff your hair?
Hashtag Poor People's Campaign.
Yeah. That's the group.
Wow.
That's the group that he was speaking with. It was and again, Poor People's Campaign is basically an activist group that it's a progressive group of individuals who are the usual. I mean, you can imagine everything that they stand for is on the progressive agenda. So you can do a little research on them. But Joe Biden is the ironic thing, of course, the fact that the party of minority, the party of the black people, of LGBTQ, RMLSY, and all of them, their candidate at the forefront, old white guy. Old white guy. How does that happen? How does that happen? It's amazing. And he's not wrong about the polling data right now. I think even in Texas, he's a few points ahead. But we're 18 months out, and there's just the world could and will change in the next 18 months. And they are wisely keeping Joe under pretty tight leash. He's not. You've noticed he's not out there shaking babies and kissing hands much.
Yeah, that would kind of freak me out a little bit.
Yeah, you just got to keep Joe under wraps, because eventually Joe Biden, if he will do nothing else, he will absolutely embarrass himself. If nothing else, he will say something that is embarrassing to himself and the party. It's just it goes without saying. At least he's very good at that. If you are not of the progressive leaning bent, as it were, and you have a cell phone, and after all, who doesn't? I mean, if you're anybody who's anybody, you have a cell phone. If you are not with Patriot Mobile, it's possible that the money you're paying every month is going to fund those progressive causes, possibly even going to fund Joe Biden's campaign. You never know. You can always look it up on whoever your cell carrier is, find out who they're giving money to. That will not happen with Patriot Mobile. They want you to come on over. I think they give you the first month. Where'd that sheet go? I don't want to say it. I think it's first month free. You know what? I'm saying it. Just you call them up.
Tell them Brad Staggs.
You call them up and say, hey, Brad said that you're getting the first month free. And they'll either say he's a lying sack of, or they'll say, yep, he's right. Go to patriotmobile.com/mojo50. You can learn more about them. You can decide to switch right then and there on the spot, get a new phone and a new number, or keep your old phone and your old number. Not like your health plan, keep your doctor if you like them. No, this is actually cell service for patriots, cell service for libertarians and conservatives. And it's pretty much the only one, I think, in the country that's like this. Not aware of others. patriotmobile.com/mojo50. If you are in need of new service, that is the place to go today. Smacking Duck over on the Twitter. It's a progressive group that is pretty sure you need to pay for their stuff. Yes. That's if Joe's speaking there, you can pretty much guarantee that.
Yeah, that would be the Poor People's Campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good idea.
ELS Stealth Jack Hole, what I learned today, coming soon to Mojo 50 Radio, the Throne Wall of Hosts. Oh, is she referring to the pictures yesterday? I meant to tweet that out, the one I got from Izzo that just scared the crap out of it.
The one with the tiny urinal on the wall?
Yes, that was a...
wow, that was a freaky picture. He called me last night to ask a question about something business related, and I said, yo, by the way, I got my appointment scheduled. He's like, what appointment? I said, the one to see the therapist after you sent me that damn picture.
I couldn't figure out what that was.
He started laughing. He says, he's like, I couldn't believe you even said that. He's like, every dude takes pictures of themselves in the bathroom.
No. Not every one of them. No, I don't. Well, I have, but
there you go.
We'll just leave that there. How's that sound? If you are having trouble controlling your cravings for fast food, this is something Amazon is now selling. Wow. Amazon is selling a bracelet now that delivers a 350-volt electric shock every time you eat fast food. Doesn't have to be fast food. They say it could be smoking or sleeping past your alarm. Every time you misbehave, you're supposed to administer the shock.
How do it know, Brad?
Well, that's just it.
How does it know that you stopped at Taco Bell or down in Texas, Whataburger? How does it know?
Aha! Here's what happens. You have a friend who can download the app. And you're gonna,
for the love of Pete.
So you realize
this is God bless. This is like a dog collar.
This is I can tell you right now.
So your buddy would be zapping you all day long.
I can tell you right now, this is going to be used for things other than
reminding you that you're eating fast food.
This is I can already
absolutely
see the road this is going down. Every time you misbehave, you're supposed to administer the shock. The idea being that it rewires your brain to associate the activity with an uncomfortable zap.
Wait.
Yes.
You have to administer your own shock.
Yeah.
I'm driving into Taco Bell.
Yes.
Oh, snap. Yeah. Oh, I'm here at Taco Bell. Okay. Can I have 2 bean burritos, please?
Yeah.
Oh,
crap. I know.
Can I just have 1 bean burrito then?
It would fail miserably with me. Yeah, I'd have to use the buddy system where I'd have to have somebody else download it.
Can you imagine handing this to your wife?
No. Nope.
Honey, are you looking at her butt? Oh.
Yeah. Oh, boy, that is not going to end well. The unicorn. Remember the unicorn? See, this is...
I already envision a lot of ways to use it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It allows you to speak your reptile brain's language by adding an unpleasant element. They say it's a safe and harmless zap of electricity on your wrist to what you've been taught to love, your nasty lingering habit. It conditions your mind to associate the unpleasant feeling with your bad habit and theoretically stopping it altogether.
I'm thinking it'll turn into like Pavlov's dog, and every time you get a shock, you'll be like, I want a bean burrito. Whataburger.
That's possible. See what's going to happen here? I can already see this. This is going to court when someone has a heart attack.
Brad. Check it out.
Mm-hmm.
We can make a host version, and we can let all of our users have the little zap button.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah, but with the Jackhole Nation, all they do is sit there and zap you.
Can we not give one to Smacking Duck? That'd be great.
No. Nope. Cannot. He, she, it cannot have one. I did not mean to assume their gender. Manish Shetty is the inventor. He says it's not as excuse me. I don't mean to assume that Manish is a dude. Manish, they said that while it isn't as powerful as a shock from a taser, it still delivers enough voltage to shock you and make you jump. This is not going to end well. It feels like you were to touch a doorknob after rubbing your socks on the carpet. You know, sometimes that you get and it hasn't happened to me in here lately. I don't know if it's the shoes I'm wearing or what, but in here I used to get.
I think it's the time of year.
At the other place, I'd walk out of the studio and I would touch the door, the sliding door frame, and it would nail me every time to the point where people could hear it. So I'm not sure what I'm doing differently.
Did you want a hot dog after that?
For whatever reason, I wanted to strip naked and run down the hallway. It has the opposite effect on me. They say there's a real power. Here we go. There's real power in using a little bit of pain to help you break your bad habits.
Yep. It's already beginning.
Oh, yeah. Hold on a minute. There's got to be some music. I should have been using this music the whole time. The idea was born out of Mr. Sethi's social media addiction. I suffered from ADHD and found myself addicted to Facebook. I wrote a blog post where I hired someone to slap me. every time I went on Facebook, and my productivity skyrocketed.
I'm sorry, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
What? This guy got slapped every time he went to Facebook?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
He hired somebody to slap him. I'm assuming that's
Can you slap your kids and your spouse if they go to Facebook?
Sure, once. You can slap your spouse once.
What?
Once. From then on, though, your life is in your own hands.
I'm sorry, officer. It was an app.
Yeah, the app did it. See, that's what's going to happen. Somebody's going to get shocked while they're driving. Somebody's going to have a heart attack when they get shocked. Something bad is going to happen when their computer's going to blow up because they were touching it when they got shocked.
Dude, if I got punched or slapped for everything I did wrong in a day.
Oh, you'd be black and blue.
Or like it.
I was going to say there's some people out there that right now they are wondering how they can get one of these on both wrists and have 14 people, just nailing them every second. This has a lot of possibilities. And speaking of, in the third hour after we behave, for the Newsmax audience, I have a story about the sex doll industry.
Yeah, you do.
You couple this story with the sex doll industry story, and you got yourself a party is what you got. This is going to be an interesting morning. So, again, we're going to be filling in for Chris Salcedo next over on Newsmax. So, everybody put on some nice clothes. And if you're not wearing pants, please put your pants on. This is your Daily Mojo.
This is the seditious, rabble-rousing, liberty-loving, home of fun, entertaining, and compelling talk. Mojo 50.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. With recent attacks on shipping in the Persian Gulf region and Iran threatening to ramp up its nuclear activities, the U.S. is sending more troops to the Mideast.
Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan says the 1,000 new troops are being deployed for defensive purposes to address air, naval, and ground-based threats in the Middle East. He says the U.S. does not seek conflict with Iran, but needs to keep military personnel safe and national interests protected.
Correspondent Jackie Quinn. President Trump says that starting next week, ICE will begin the process of removing millions of illegal aliens from the country. The president writes on Twitter, they will be removed as fast as they come in. Mr. Trump also says that Guatemala is about to join Mexico, signing an agreement that will help to stem the tide of illegals moving north toward the U.S. border. New York State will start issuing driver's licenses to illegal aliens. That under a Democrat bill signed by the governor. Republicans argued it rewards people for breaking the law. Trump supporters already camped out in Orlando, and they have been for quite a while now.
It's no secret that Donald Trump is running for a second term, but he will make the official announcement tonight in Orlando, Florida, before a packed arena of supporters. The president and first lady will be joined by Vice President and Mrs. Pence for the 2020 campaign launch. In a letter to supporters, the president says his administration has been winning at an unprecedented rate. He points to low unemployment, job creation, the building of a border wall, and the naming of what he calls two fantastic conservative Supreme Court justices. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Facebook launching a new digital or cryptocurrency, something similar to Bitcoin. Stock futures higher on Wall Street this morning. Dow futures up 145 points. NASDAQ futures 80 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
You know what makes you feel really good about yourself? Doing something good for somebody else. And if you'd like to do that today, go to jdrf.org. Join them in the fight against type 1 diabetes. jdrf.org. It's something good you can do for the world.
jdrf.org. Say what you want to say about Cortez. She's not unattractive. Whoopi Goldberg,
ugly as dirt. She one ugly woman. She ugly. Whoopi is jealous. Making radio great again. The Cartel with Matt and Ron. Weekday afternoon. Mojo 50.
Rates based on a man age 42 with no tobacco use of any form for 20 years. Policy number 25. Policy underwritten by various life insurance companies. Premium includes a $50 policy fee. Rates and underwriting criteria subject to change at any time. Not available in some states. You've heard those term life insurance ads with the rates read very low, and at the end they have a long disclaimer read extremely fast. Why? Because most people like us will never qualify for those rates. It's just a way to get you to call. Listen, at the Term Lifeline, we'll never quote you a low rate hoping you'll call, then try to sell you something else. But we do promise to get you the best rates available on policies of $500,000 or more with professional service. Don't waste your valuable time. Get the real rates you want on term life insurance policies of $500,000 or more from the Term Lifeline. Call now. 866-521-TERM. 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 That's 866-521-8376.
If we weren't so bad.
To puppy rape.
I like to cuss.
Do I want to keep my penis?
Cat wants some black titties. We wouldn't be so good. Mojo 50. The mothership has landed.
All right, everybody, get it out of your system. World of Spots over on the Twitter. Hashtag what I learned today. The Jackhole Nation will happily take turns slapping at Real Ron Phillips every time he or Real Brad Staggs does something wrong. Now, my question is, do we have to pay extra for that service? Or will the Jackhole Nation do it for free? I think they might actually volunteer. And Comrade Snarky McSnarkface, holy crap, can you imagine at Jeffy JFR wearing this thing? It would electrocute him. Talking about the Amazon bracelet that shocks you every time you engage in one of your less than healthy behaviors. But again, remember, you either have to shock yourself or you have to appoint someone else as your, angel on your shoulder.
Yeah, that whole app shocking thing, that's not going to go over well.
Let's see. And Snacking Duck says, I'm wearing 2 of those shock bracelets right now, but it's stopping me. He's drinking again. It's drinking again.
30 seconds.
And we all get slapped on Facebook. That's true. But hey, they're coming out with a new cryptocurrency that you just heard in the news. We'll actually talk about that in a little bit. All right, everybody, put on your smiles. Remember, this is like the parents coming over to meet us for dinner.
Fix your tie.
Is that a gravy spot on your tie?
Yes, it is. 10 seconds.
Jeez. You could have at least put on clean underpants. Just saying. I don't know. Smiles, everyone.
Oh, let's do it.
Smiles, everyone. Here comes the plane.
The mothership has landed.
South Carolina woman, police say was driving drunk, will not be cited with DUI. Why? Because in South Carolina they invite such things? No. Because she was, in fact, not driving a vehicle. She was driving a Power Wheels electric toy. That was a truck. As she was driving down the road, DUI. So if you're going to drive drunk in South Carolina, make sure you're driving a car. Welcome into the Newsmax audience. We are sitting in for Chris Salcedo this week. We are the Daily Mojo. I'm Real Brad Staggs on Twitter. Over there is Real Ron Phillips on Twitter, and this is the platform Doc Thompson started before he went for a jog. And here we are, ta-da! So apparently they didn't decide to kick us off the air yesterday, Ron.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're safe today. For the moment.
Until we get the letter from the from the attorney telling us to cease and desist. So if you weren't with us yesterday, we take a slightly different. Now we dressed in nice clothes today, and we try to. We have our manners and our wits about us. Generally, we're a little off, more off into the weeds, off the beaten path than others, and you can listen.
A little
to us.
more loose, you could say.
I don't know if I'd gone with that word, but sure, a little looser. If you want to join the program, you can call us. The phone line is 202-900-5900, and as we like to say, the easiest way to remember that phone number is just remember that it's 202-900-5900 because it spells absolutely nothing. And by nothing, I mean nothing. So welcome in. And the thing I wanted to start with today, this gets me and this has been a thorn in my paw for years. The president yesterday is slashing aid to Central American countries over the migrants. U.S., and this is according to Reuters, President Donald Trump's administration on Monday cut hundreds of millions of dollars in aid to El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, after he blasted the three countries because thousands of their citizens had sought asylum at the U.S. border with Mexico. Here is my question. How are we still sending hundreds of millions of dollars to anybody? As I look to my left over on our giant screen television here in the Mojo 50 Freedom Dojo, I see that the U.S. national debt stands today at this moment in time $22,386,720,540,50,60,70,80,90,600,000. I mean, it's spinning so fast in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can't even keep up with it. We are that far in debt. Our checkbook, everything in our checkbook is written in red now. Everything. We don't have 2 cents to rub together. It's questionable whether we can ever crawl out of this debt hole that we're in. With that said, how is it possible that we are sending hundreds of millions of dollars anywhere to anyone? We don't have it. It's all a paper game at this point. And is that being responsible? Are we setting, not that we have to set an example for anybody because of who we are, but I mean, how is it possible that we can even write a check in good conscience? And by the way, what has, if you look at El Salvador and Guatemala and Honduras, what has in the past these hundreds of millions of dollars, what have they gotten us? Just asking. Lawmakers, including some of Trump's fellow Republicans as well as Democrats, they have chafed against the president's repeated decisions to disregard spending bills passed by Congress, some of which he has signed into law himself. They say it would be cruel to cut off aid to countries grappling with hunger and crime. It doesn't seem to have helped. That would be one thing if, in fact, it was, doing some good. But does it seem to have done any good? I don't know. You can call us and we can talk about that amidst other things. Bill is Bill's in Florida at the Trump rally down there. Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing? I was going to talk to Chris. I told him I was going to have a sign up there saying, "Hello, Newsmax. This is a party, buddy. This is a hell of a party down here."
I'll bet it is.
Yeah.
I'll bet it is. So how many people are there at the rally so far, and what time does it start?
Well, we got here yesterday, and I'd say there's a good 10,000 people just milling around, but it's coming, buddy. They're shutting down the streets now, and it's fixing to be one heck of a party.
That's amazing. Everywhere there, and you don't see the mainstream media covering the fact that what they will do is they will ignore the tens of thousands or however many show up at the rally to support the president, and they will in turn point their cameras over at a dozen or so protesters or at a counter rally across the street.
They're not letting the protesters get anywhere near us, man. They're setting up big screen TVs for people who can't get in. It's wonderful, buddy.
So are there protesters nearby that you can see?
We saw a few. We saw like 100 of them yesterday messing around, but they didn't last long.
Really?
No.
Were they run off, or did they just kind of run out of gas?
They were run off by Trump supporters. Yeah, they were run off by Trump supporters, and the police just stayed out of it. They didn't say nothing.
Interesting. If you don't mind, keep us posted throughout the day. How long is the rally? Is it just today? How long is it supposed to last?
8 o'clock tonight.
All right. And wow, you did get there early.
You got to get here early. We went to the one in Ocala when he was running for president. You have to get there early. You want to see the man.
There you go. Did you get a good parking spot?
Oh, yeah. We're staying in Howard Johnson's right across the street from it.
Excellent. Well, keep us posted. Let us know if anything interesting happens down there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be wonderful.
There you go. All right, Bill, thanks for calling. Appreciate it, man.
Bye.
I tell you, supporters for the president are loyal to a fault almost.
Without a doubt. And I had heard, because they were saying on the news that more than 100,000 people wanted to be there. So they're setting up, like Bill said, they're setting up all these TV, big screens around so that people who can't get into the 20,000 seat auditorium can actually, watch what's going on out there.
His base is so very loyal.
Huge and loyal. Yeah.
And the poll numbers that came out yesterday, or I guess on Friday, whenever it was, showing Biden with a lead, I question their veracity. I mean, not that the mainstream media would ever try to pull one over on us. I mean, they would never lie to us about things like that, would they? I wouldn't think so. Larry in Ohio on the phone as well. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning. I'm 78 years old, and I'd like to know why Fox News is starting to suck up to the Democrats. They got that Juan and Bob and Al. They're off there now. They got that Brazil gal.
Donna Brazil, yep, of the Clinton gang fame. Well, the issue with Fox, and I don't know if you saw this, the kids, the kids in the Murdoch family, coming up through the ranks, and apparently they're just trying to take it a little further left of center. That's the way they're starting to lean. That's apparently their future. I'm not sure they care about their core audience, but yeah, you and a lot of other people are noticing that very same thing.
And they hate us. Remember, they can smell us in Walmart, and we're deplorables.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? It's a good time to wear the deplorable name proudly.
Yes. And Donald Trump is the greatest president I've seen in my 78 years.
There you go. He seems to be the president is very good at delivering on promises. I did not vote for him. I would vote for him this time. He's a man of his word, and I think the funniest thing is the fact that he is able to troll so many people out there on the internet. And Larry, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. He's able to troll so many people out there on the interwebs, and they talk about fish that are eager to bite the hook. Man, they're good at it. Peter's on the line. You have please, if you have the answer to how we can send not just millions, hundreds of $1 million in foreign aid to these countries when we don't seem to have, it's not that we don't seem to have it, we don't have the money. How is it that we're doing that?
Earmarks. I'm going to say 80% of everything going out of this country are earmarks based on government representatives trying to progress their careers, period. And the only thing that's going to really solve problems like this are term limitations, and you can't attach earmarks. I mean, you look at the money they're sending, down south, yes. But it's not just that; it's all over the place.
Oh yeah, we send money around the world to the third world. What do they call them? The third world crap holes. But it's still, even if they're earmarks, call them what you will, call it a just paper money. We don't have the money to send.
Right, and that's the problem. The politicians are more focused on their careers, and the average person doesn't pay attention to anything but headlines. They're not as in-depth with reporting and paying attention to politicians and legislation. Most people just want the headlines. They get the headlines, which 75% or so are incorrect. And we're losing our Congress, we're losing our Senate, and we have to step up to the plate and hold every one of them accountable. It's accountability.
That's true.
They've got to stop doing this to the American people, especially before this mass influx of immigrants. We were at $18 billion a year to cover illegal immigrants. What does it jump to at this point?
I know, it's crazy. And Peter, thank you for the phone call. And the thing is, with the $22 trillion national debt that I mentioned, that does not include things like Medicare, I think, and Social Security and all of those other funds the pot is empty, as they say. We will continue here in just a moment. Again, it's the Daily Mojo. It's Real Brad Staggs on Twitter, Real Ron Phillips on Twitter, and we're filling in for Chris Salcedo We are coming back now. Well, here we are. We're back.
Kind of like...
Take two.
We're kind of like...
Take three.
We're kind of like Grindr for Mojo Sexuals. Mojo 50. I can't do that with a straight face.
Ron, are you telling me I did it wrong? Are you telling me that I did it wrong, that I screwed up the break?
I tried to help you, brother. I did.
You need to flail more. You need more of this. We are filling in for Chris Salcedo, and we're trying to get the format right. See, it's whenever you do something like this, there are different formats, and you have to stop at different times during the hour, and you know, it takes a rocket scientist degree to look up and see the timer. All right, we are talking about we're talking about all sorts of things, but the fact that we're sending hundreds of millions of dollars to other countries right now when we don't have a dime to rub together here in this country. Marie is in South Carolina. Marie, how are you this morning?
I'm doing fine, and how are you?
I'm doing swell.
I heard you speak about people being loyal to a flock for our president.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. I am one of those people, and I'll tell you why.
Please do.
Because Donald Trump is a man of his word. He's not a career politician. He is for the American people. And the people are tired of Washington, D.C., with the corruption and the career politicians.
And
we want the swamp drained.
Do you think he's going to be able to accomplish that, Marie? And let me ask you this at the same time, because you sound like a reasonable human being, and the mainstream media does have a tendency to try to force down our throats the fact that here's a guy who years ago, used crude language in grabbing women by the, and they tried to paint this president with a vile brush, but none of that seems to stick. How come none of that stuff in the past bothers you, the things that he's done?
Because that's the past. It's what he is doing now, today. See, that's the trouble. People want to look at his past. Well, for instance, why don't we look at these career politicians, their past? That's like Joe Biden. He is a complete fraud. He is a career crony politician. That's what he is.
And I think, and I agree with you 100%. And the fact that with the Democrat Party, when they are the party of inclusion, the party of people of color, and this and that and the other, and the alternate lifestyles and all of that, and the best that they can come up with, the highest polling candidate they have so far is an old white guy, which is.
I don't believe those polls. Let me tell you, those polls are trying to manipulate the American people.
No doubt.
With those.
No doubt about it. Marie, thank you so much for the phone call. I appreciate it this morning. John is out in California. John, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, listen, I'm a Mexican. I voted for Trump. I'm going to vote for Trump come 2020. Here's how we get the foreign aid money.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. government gets all the counterfeit $100 and other denomination bills from North Korea, and they ship it to the Latin American countries and the Middle East and Europe, and they use it just like if it's valid currency. And remember, all the counterfeit money that was printed, I think the white people use the term quantitative easing. They burned the printing machines up backwards. And don't forget, the man from Kenya sent like almost $200 billion to the Middle East, Iranians, and nobody said a damn thing about it.
Let me get this.
And I'm glad.
Let me get this straight. You're saying that we are collecting the counterfeit bills from around the world, and that's the money that we're actually sending to the third world countries? To Guatemala and Honduras and those places?
That's my attitude, because if you get a counterfeit bill and you spend it like you do ordinary currency, It's ordinary currency, my friend.
Maybe they don't have those, the pens that whenever you go into like a convenience store or whatever, and you give them 100, and they take the pen out from behind the register, and they put a little swipe across the $100 bill.
They do that in America. Do you think they do it in those S-hole countries?
No, I see that.
Don't.
That's just it. They don't have those pens down there in Honduras and Guatemala. I think you may be onto something. John, thank you. Appreciate the phone call as well. See, it's that kind of thinking, and I hadn't really thought about that. I hadn't thought about the fact that we could be just collecting those counterfeit $100 bills and sending those down to Honduras and Guatemala.
That would be a good plan, right?
I mean, talk about the ultimate practical joke.
Yeah, no joke.
So you go down there, you grab one of their 100, you light a cigar with a $100 bill, and they're like,
down there you have to take your own pen with you.
Yeah, well, now you don't want to clue them into that because they obviously don't know about it. So.
No, for when they give it to you.
Yeah, but down there you're not going to care because nobody down there knows. See, you have to know how to play the game. John might be onto something. Melissa's in New York. Hi, Melissa. Hello, Melissa.
Well, good morning.
Good morning to you.
I am calling because it seems that the percentage of salary increase to our Congress has been kind of swept under the rug. I have heard about it once in the news, but nothing's been made of it. I understand it. I believe it's 2.4% or 2.7%. And I'm on disability, Social Security. For 2 years under Obama, we got no raises at all. Under this president, we did get a 2% raise. But with Congress doing nothing, basically, not showing up for meetings, not showing up for rulings, having all these vacations, who in the American public does that and gets a 2.7% rate hike?
Oh, I agree totally with you, which is why then the reason I think that we have not heard anything about it, I don't think it's gone anywhere because these whenever this topic comes up, it is never a very popular topic for the American people, knowing that we are footing the bill for a raise in government when we know that they are we know what they do with our money up there. I don't. They basically do nothing. Quite frankly, though, I rather enjoy it when the government sits there and does nothing because that means they're not spending our money. The problem is the progressives right now in Congress are working hard to spend our money on a slew of things that the majority of us don't agree with. But I don't think that the pay raise is going anywhere at this time, which is why you haven't heard anything about it. We try to stay on top of that stuff here. And if they do try to get this through, it's going to be in the middle of the night at about 11:30 on a Friday night. When
well, I heard that it was done behind closed doors, the hearings on it anyway.
Well,
why don't the American public get to vote their raises?
Yeah, well, they're not going to give us the power to vote them a raise because they know that we will vote no. So I totally agree with you there, Melissa. Thank you for the phone call. Ron's in Oklahoma as well. Ron, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great so far.
Good. I'd like to know what makes Congress think they're entitled to a raise.
It's their sheer arrogance, and with people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I'm not sure she's smart enough to realize that when she says things like they deserve a raise, how absolutely foolish she looks. They will use it's a standard of living raise. It's we need it because we've got to keep up with our expenses just like everybody else does. But the problem is they are paid a lot of money to begin with. And the fact that they take a lot of our money and they spend it on pointless and meaningless projects, and they waste a lot of our money. And as we were discussing earlier, the fact that we send hundreds of millions of dollars to these third world countries when we are $22 trillion plus in debt. So to answer your question in short, I have no idea why they. Do you think they deserve a raise?
No, not when they're bent on the overthrow of our government.
Yeah,
And that's all it boils down to.
That's true. And you know what? Revolutions like that, and insurgencies, I should say, like that cost money. Maybe that's why they feel they need to raise.
That may be it.
It's not cheap to overthrow a government. So there you go. I appreciate the phone call, Ron. Thank you so much. If you would like to join us, 202-900-5900. 202-900-5900. Ron is also on the phone from Michigan as well. We'll quickly take his phone call. Hi, Ron.
Yeah, good morning. I'm a retired sheriff's detective, ex-Marine Corps guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk a little bit about Obama's Fast and Furious. Many cops are going to die and citizens are going to die because of that program. And the other thing is, who authorized Obama to send billions of dollars over to Iran? If we have a war with them, you can look right now. All them small ships that they've got, the rockets they bought, is nothing but blood money that Obama gave them, and it's going to kill our soldiers if we go into a war with them. This thing really upsets me. And who authorized all that money?
That's a really good question. And when you say that we're police officers in this country are going to die, that's the guns and things that are brought in were traded for in that deal. As far as who authorized it, the governments a lot of times, especially when it comes to and in the past, President Obama, I think a lot of things he did. He used the power, as he said. He has a cell phone. He had a cell phone and a pen, and he was able to get a lot of things done that he circumvented, shall we say, traditional channels in government. But I totally agree. It's always amazing when they do it. It's okay. When they do it, it's for the good of the people. When the conservative side of things, when the conservative side of the aisle does it, it's heresy almost. It's amazing, the double standard. This is your Daily Mojo. We're filling in for Chris Salcedo on Newsmax. Thanks for joining us.
You're in the break. You're good, Chris. Go ahead.
Dan should be calling us. Oh, are we with the Mojo audience right now? Oh, good. See, I was going to relax, take off my pants, and just sit around for a couple of minutes. But Dan Andros should be joining us here in just a second. And for the Mojo audience, isn't this exciting? I mean, we can be bad as we want to be right now for the next 3.5 minutes. Dan Andros should be joining us here in a second. We're going to talk about the tweet sent by NARAL. Let me get that story, and I will show it to you. The amazing thing is, and again, I don't even know that when they say things like this, when they have dads for wishing dads for abortion a happy Father's Day, I'm not even sure they understand the irony of their statement. I'm not sure that they even that even starts to trickle into their brain when they think about that. To find the story, where is it here? The irony of wishing, dads in favor of abortion. Let's see, abortion. Find that real quickly here. That it flies in the face of common sense. It flies in the face of human life. It is so absolutely ridiculous that I think it escapes them completely. And that's what here we go. The pro-abortion group NARAL used a baby in a Father's Day ad hailing the feminist credentials of pro-choice dads. It's insanity and I don't really think that they even begin to realize the ridiculousness of the visual or of the underlying sentiment of it. I don't think they use their brains that much. I really don't. I think that it's I think that they are so self-unaware that it just escapes them. Dan's on the line right now, isn't he? You know, we can actually. What we'll do is I'm going to do something crazy right now, Ron. I'm answering the phone. Dan, how are you, sir?
Hey, Brad, how are you?
I'm doing great. See, right now for the next minute we've only got the Mojo audience, so we're all on our best behavior here for when we rejoin the Newsmax audience.
There you go.
I've informed the Jackhole Nation that they all have to be wearing pants at this time. I mean, normally none of them are wearing pants, but I was just I guess you could hear me on hold discussing the fact that the NARAL is just so. I think that they are unaware.
Completely. It's I mean, to your point, it's silly, and they're not thinking. I think is 100% correct. This is what happens when you just sort of buy into a narrative of reproductive rights and healthcare, and you don't actually think about what you're doing.
Right.
This is the same type of people that complain about the patriarchy.
Oh, I know.
Look at who. Look at who they're celebrating. They're celebrating a guy who's willing to have the choice to walk his.
Hang on, hold that thought, Dan. We're 5 seconds away from rejoining Newsmax, and we will pick that thought up Okay, smiles, everyone.
Rebel rousers, instigators, troublemakers, freaks, agitators, fanatics, scallywags, mutants, scamps, firebrands, rogues, scoundrels, mojo sexuals, Mojo 50.
Yeah, we kind of consider ourselves the island of misfit toys when it comes to this sort of thing. It's your Daily Mojo from Mojo 50 filling in for Chris Salcedo on his show this week on Newsmax until they regret that decision. In the meantime, we are joined on the phone by Dan Andros from faithwire.com. And we were just discussing, Dan, first of all, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And just discussing the really, it's almost laughable. If it wasn't such horrific subject material, it would be laughable what NARAL did using the baby in the Father's Day ad, hailing the feminist credentials of pro-choice dads, sending out the tweet of dads for abortion rights, and not even seeing the fact that what they are saying is so asinine.
Yes, and I think, as you mentioned earlier, that yes, this is a clear evidence that they're just not thinking, and this is what happens when you mindlessly buy into a narrative sold by a group of people, and that narrative from the secular left, of course, is that abortion is actually not the killing of an innocent unborn child in the womb. It is actually human, health care and women's rights and all of these things that they celebrate, and so they can say without any shred or hint of irony, hey, congrats, pro-dad, celebrate those pro-choice dads out there. Because these are the same folks who, decry the patriarchy and how men, always decide what to do. What, our message are you sending to schlub guys who want to be deadbeat dads and would want nothing more than to escape the responsibility of raising a child if it's in a situation where, let's say it's a college guy, or let's say it's a young single guy and he has a one-night stand, and all things that, I would say just avoid in the first place, but they don't. So you get someone pregnant, and then what do they want to do? What's the first thing they want to do? They want to have no responsibility for it. They want to be a deadbeat. They want to actually kill it. So then they're getting celebrated to be these losers that walk their women into the abortion mill to have their own child slaughtered. And they are being celebrated. It as you said, it's absolutely asinine. It's mindless, but this is what you get when you adopt a mindless philosophy such as secular progressivism.
Well, and that's true. And with the my favorite term is the reproductive rights. When they term it that, or abortion is health care. They don't stop to think about it, and obviously that is the underlying difference between the left and the right. Life begins at conception, that sort of thing. How are we in danger? I mean, is there a danger that this sort of idiocy spreads to the next generation? I mean, will there always be, you think, this divide, and will there always be hopefully a certain large majority of the population that has the common sense to see the difference here?
Well, I hope that the pendulum swings back, but right now it's swinging definitely in the. I mean, at least the feel you get from watching media and from being on social media is that the pendulum is definitely in favor of the sort of secular progressive left. And actually, I was trying to put my thoughts together on what I'm feeling right now. What I wanted to kind of talk about was a few stories. Kyle Kashuv, I'm sorry, I forget. I don't know how to pronounce Kyle's last name, but he's the young man from Florida, who was one of the survivors of the shooting down, the horrific shooting down there, and he's very pro Second Amendment. He got into Harvard.
Yes.
Then he had these texts released. I don't know how they came out, but he said some horrible things, which some racist things in private texts, which are obviously horrible. We all condemn those, but he apologized for them, and they still ended up. They decided to rescind his acceptance into Harvard based on those past statements, even though he apologized for them. And then you have that story. You've got Taylor Swift now, basically mocking anyone who opposes, or doesn't agree with an LGBTQ lifestyle as, a redneck hick.
Which amazes me that no one has told Taylor Swift, no one in her camp has had the common sense or the even the business sense to tell her to shut up. She is. No. I mean, she's dropping. It seems to me. I mean, you don't see the buzz surrounding any new one of her records coming out that you used to.
Right.
For whatever reason, she's just decided to go down that path. Yeah, it's crazy.
Right. It's probably to that point now where she's a big enough celebrity where she just feels like she can do whatever she wants, and that's fine. I mean, whatever. If that's what she wants to do, I mean, it's annoying to the rest of us who just want to listen to music, but if that's her prerogative, that's great. But the underlying message that I wanted to get at, and actually, as I was thinking about how to button this all together, I saw Eric Erickson's article today, which talked about the secular left as a new religion that's basically popped up, but there's no repentance, there's no room for forgiveness in this religion, and you're seeing that now, where if you don't agree with the tenets of their religion, this is a movement that talks about tolerance, this is a movement that talks about diversity. But if you do not agree with them, they will shun you and do everything they can to destroy you. Kyle Kashuv, I don't know how we can look at, what person among us hasn't said something idiotic in their past, especially when they were a teenager?
Oh, absolutely.
In high school, if we put all of the things that we have ever said, the worst of them, what person would, by the left standard now where you just aren't allowed to do anything, you're getting fired from your job, you can't get into schools if you say something, negative in the past, who among us would be clear on that?
Well,
none of us would.
Yeah,
so
it's the suppression of any their feeling that people can't grow, that people can't expand beyond their past. And again, like you said, when you have a secular religion, even if it's contradiction in terms, when the government is your religion, you have to look to the government for the forgiveness that you're seeking from your past sins.
Well, and as Eric pointed out in his article, very, very brilliantly, what happens is, people make themselves, the government and themselves, ultimately their own gods. So that's why you see this need for them to exact some in social justice. All of these, the underlying thing there is that they need to enact justice. The thing that makes Christianity unique is grace. We offer forgiveness. We understand we're all sinful. And Christ forgives us for our sins, and that's how we can all come to the table, and we can, all be there despite our flaws. But there is no room for that in secular progressivism and leftism. Because they don't have that justice on the other side of life. So for them, it's got to be them that does it. And the problem with that, of course, is it's completely arbitrary, and it ends up being political. I mean, Kyle Kashuv would not be. There's absolutely, I believe, zero chance that this guy would have gotten his application rescinded if, despite these comments, if he was a leftist. If it was, I forget the other kid's name, but there is one of those kids from,
David Hogg.
Solomon Douglas. Yes, David Hogg.
Yes.
There is absolutely no chance if some horrible statement came out from him in the past that somebody exposed that he would get his college applications rescinded. It's just no chance. It's political at the end of the day. and it's masked in righteousness, it's masked in virtue, but it's pinned to nothing. There is no moral standard other than their own arbitrary whims, which end up just being political. And I mean, you look at Taylor Swift's video too. I mean, it's the same thing. I think the line in it, I didn't actually watch it. I just read our article up on FaceWire about it because I didn't have the stomach to actually watch it. But she's saying, calm down. She's like, just calm down, everybody. Which this has always irritated me because I believe the aggressor in the LGBT, movement is them. I mean, I've been going to church all my life. I grew up in a Catholic church. Then I moved to different churches. I was in a Methodist church for a long time. And I did not ever hear sermons on that topic, ever.
No.
You might hear a mention about that particular issue, mentioned with a litany of other things. But it was never like this thing that everyone harped on all the time. It never came up until their movement started pushing it. So it's like you're telling me to calm down, but at the same time, you're the one yelling about it all the time.
Yeah,
so
there's a difference between tolerance and accepting of people because, quite frankly, I don't care who you sleep with. I mean, that's your business. You do whatever, that's between you and God, and I'm not here to judge you. But when it's the progressive left, when they start to when they start to push the agenda literally down your throat, when they start to force you to, in the case of the transgenderism, when if you want to dress up as a woman, that's fine. I don't. It doesn't affect me.
Right. Yeah.
But if you start forcing me to pretend with you that you are a woman, that's where I start diverging.
And again, this is the ultimate irony, Brad, because what they're yelling about us, about Christians, saying, you're forcing me to do X, Y, and Z. I am not forcing you to do anything.
Right.
I mean, look, I will tell you what the Bible says. I'll tell you what God says, but I'm not pushing anything on you. I don't expect you.
Dan, hold that thought. We have to take a quick break here.
Sure.
If you've got a few more minutes, I want to come back on the other side and discuss this further because things may be swinging the other way, especially with respect to the Supreme Court. And we'll cover that coming up next. This is the Daily Mojo sitting in for Chris Salcedo on Newsmax. And we're still here with the Jackhole Nation audience.
Yes, we are.
I'm starting to feel schizophrenic doing this. I feel like Samantha on Bewitched. Am I Serena right now, or am I Samantha? I don't know if I'm the good witch or the bad witch, but it's and I was talking, Dan, about this with a friend. Their son stayed with us for the past couple of weeks. They were going through David Barton's course on the Constitution and all of that. And we were discussing the fact, he and I, about I don't care what your sexual habits are. The issue is, again, if you want to pretend to be a table, go ahead, pretend to be a table. I don't, whatever. That's no skin off my back. But when you force me to start pretending that you're a table also, or in their case, if you are a dude dressing up as a woman, and even if you have some of your parts lopped off and other parts enhanced, you're still not biologically a woman. And for you to make me pretend with you, I mean, that's insanity, and that's what they're trying to do.
Right, and that's what and I guess we can get back and finish this thought on when we get back to the
minute and a half
over on Newsmax.
Yeah,
but basically, I mean, it's the irony there is that they're forcing me to believe something, and they're coming down on it very hard. And punishing people if they don't.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not doing that to them. Like, Christians are not actually doing that to anyone. They just get mad because, and I'll actually explain why I think it is they get mad. But they get upset at us, and I think it's because it's the truth, and that's what they're mad at. They got to beef, with their Creator, not with the people, and so.
Well, that's just it. And as I said before, the fact that when you don't believe in a higher power, or when you believe that your higher power is government, is men sitting in their ivory towers in Washington, that's where everything gets sideways. Because if you believe that you draw your power from those men in the ivory towers, then you have to draw your forgiveness and everything else from those same men, which is a total disaster.
And it's also completely arbitrary, totally arbitrary.
Yeah,
whim of the day.
Mm-hmm. And whim of the administration who happens to be in power. And, everybody wants their guy to be able to do whatever he wants when they're in office. But they suddenly, when the pendulum swings the other way to the other party, that's when they start crying foul that the government has too much power. So, all right. We have 10 seconds, Jack Holes, before we rejoin the Newsmax crew. So everybody, again, smiles, pants, manners, wipe your face, and here we go.
Mojo 50. The question isn't who's going to let us. The question is who's going to stop us.
Again, it's your Daily Mojo. Real Brad Staggs over here, Real Ron Phillips over there, filling in for Chris Salcedo on his program today on Newsmax, joined on the phone by Dan Andros from faithwire.com. We were discussing the irony of the tweet from NARAL and using, first of all, a baby in their ad for pro-choice, which was just beyond the pale, and the fact that it is the progressive left and the agenda that they keep trying to ram down our throats, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I was just saying before the break there that it's the irony there is that the very thing that they complain about, that they say that Christians are forcing them to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
That's just not happening, but yet they're doing the exact same thing. I mean, look at society today. If you come out and you say that you believe marriage is between the man and woman, what's going to happen? Is your business going to just float along? I mean, look at Chick-fil-A. Could there not be a more popular business on the planet, but yet they still try to shut it down everywhere simply because the owner came out one time when asked directly. It wasn't like he got up and was yelling about it. Somebody asked him about it because they knew they were a Christian company. Of course they try to do this.
Sure.
It's like their litmus test. And he said, oh, yeah, I believe marriage is between a man and a woman. And that was that. And it was all these protests on Chick-fil-A. Thankfully, they make wonderfully delicious chicken sandwiches. And they are wonderfully lovely people and always nice to everyone. So
chicken too tasty.
Utterly absurd.
Yes.
I mean, by all means, make Chick-fil-A your primary target. Please do go for that, because if Christians want their best foot forward, I think Chick-fil-A is pretty much it.
Right. Well, and it's the case with the bakers that I think the Supreme Court just sent that decision back down, told the lower court to revisit it with regard to was it transgender or the gay couple that couldn't get the cake made at the baker it was either Denver or Oregon. And
you're thinking of Jack Phillips got it again.
Yes.
The same person. First it was the gay wedding cake that made big news, but then a transgender I don't even know person form. Right. I don't know which they started as or which they are. I don't know.
Right.
But they've sued him now 2 times because he wouldn't make a gender transformation celebration cake, and it's he even offered. He said, "Look, my competent right down the street. There's a guy who owns he's happy to do it down there."
And so it wasn't about getting the cake made. It was about trying to ruin this guy, ruin his business, put him out of business.
Very obvious, and it reminds me of what was the name of the pizza place in Indiana when they passed a RFRA law in Indiana, and they wanted to show how horrible LGBT people were going to be treated after this, and so they Googled all over the place and found a Christian-owned pizza place, sent a news team out there and said, hey, would you cater a gay wedding?
Memories
who caters
Pizza.
A gay wedding with Memories Pizza. Who caters a gay wedding with pizza?
Right.
That's not the gay people I know would not cater it with pizza, but that's maybe just my sampling and experience. So very much an intentional thing. And that's the point I'm trying to make here, is that they're going out of their way to find these circumstances to make it look like there's some big oppression out there, when really it's just one thing. And the biggest thing that drives me nuts on these cases, by the way, whenever they come up, just watch this. If someone's just saying, I'm not going to serve the gays, well, then I think we have a problem there, because that's not being very Christ-like. But when someone's asking you to endorse something that goes against a very deeply held belief, such as marriage, it's such an integral part of the Christian faith, when you're asking them to endorse something that is outside of that, then I think it's reasonable for them to say, well, no, I can't do that. And what you see from most of these bakers are they won't do that, but they will certainly serve them just all the other basic stuff there. This is not a no gays allowed sign on the door. Now, if there is anyone out like there, we should all stand together and say, no, that's unacceptable. That's not the way we treat people.
Exactly.
But I think we should respect each other's beliefs.
What the baker was saying was, I'm happy to sell you the cake. Please just don't ask me to take my talent as an artist in frosting, or however you wanted to look at it, and to draw the picture on the cake, celebrating whatever it is you're celebrating that I don't agree with. Now, I'll sell you the cake. I'll sell you the icing. You can do it yourself, but I'm not going to use my God-given talent to do something that I am morally and religiously opposed to. And you're right. I mean, that's the entire basis of what they want us to do, which is accept them for who they are. They will not in turn accept us, or in this case, the baker, for who they are.
It is absolutely not about tolerance, because tolerance is like kind of living alongside someone in spite of a disagreement. That is absolutely not what they want. They want compliance. They do not want tolerance. They want compliance or else. And
you will fall in line with the government. We have ways of making you talk. It sounds very familiar.
Yeah, and I do think, and it's sad because this has not been my experience from the people from the gay community that I know and that are in my circles. Mm-hmm. They're not like these activists that you see out there.
No, not at all.
But unfortunately, they lead the way, and I really do think it's a movement built on bullying and fear mongering. If you do not go along with that, you are going to suffer consequences. There is no forgiveness there. And back to Eric Erickson's piece in The Resurgent, I would encourage everyone to read that today as well, because it explains the difference between Christianity, which offers grace and forgiveness, and there's no room for that in these other religions, especially secular leftism, where they've got to make you pay, they've got to make you get in line, or else you're gonna get punished.
Absolutely, and I want to get your take on what before we only have a couple of minutes here. Supreme Court Justice last week, Clarence Thomas, urged his colleagues on the High Court to consider overturning prior decisions despite precedent. Something obviously which pro-life advocates considering to be a reference to overturning Roe v. Wade. What's your spidey sense tell you about what's coming down the pike?
It's hard to say. I'm actually on vacation, so I missed all of that. So I have to look into that. But I do think, I will say this about Roe v. Wade. I do think that there is a tide turning on that. I think the more we see science point to life in the womb, I think it's becoming more undeniable that this is the taking of an innocent life. And I think, I know there's such a pushback from the left on it, but I do think we may be seeing the beginning of a tide that will hopefully right that wrong of Roe v. Wade. I know they like to yell and say, "Oh, who are these men to decide all this?" Well, I got news for you. It was a bunch of white men who decided Roe v. Wade in the first place.
Right.
But I do think there's a tide turning. You're seeing communities rise up and go to their city councils and stand up. We have a bunch of stories on FaithWire covering that, and standing up for the life of the unborn, because it is the greatest tragedy of innocent life lost in our modern history here in America.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. It's interesting because this could be the woke moment for the Supreme Court, as it were. And it's interesting how woke moments, when they don't fall in line with the progressives, woke moments don't get acknowledged.
Aren't so woke.
Yeah, exactly.
So
funny how that happens. Again, Dan Andros from faithwire.com. You're on the Twitter as well. What's your Twitter handle over there?
It's just at Dan Andros, and you'll see wonderful and entertaining tweets from me once every week.
Old white guy tweets. Dan, thanks, and enjoy your vacation. I hope you are somewhere where you're getting some relaxation.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
You bet. We'll talk again soon. Dan Andros from faithwire.com. And it is amazing how the party of tolerance, the progressive left, as Dan said, they want us to be very tolerant of every and anything that they do. And yet, when we ask for tolerance on their part with regard to us and the things that we believe, and in the case of libertarians like myself, I just want to be left alone. Just leave me alone. I just want to hang out in my shop and build stuff and just get out of my face. In the words of Rodney King, can't we all just get along? Not looking that way, is it? Thanks for joining us. Again, we are the Daily Mojo, and this week we're sitting in for Chris Salcedo until Newsmax comes to their senses and kicks us off the air. We may be here tomorrow. We may not be. But we'll see you then. I can take my pants off again? My pants can come off again? Really? Are we sure? No one's watching?
Yes.
No one but the jackholes. You know what? Real quickly, there's a Sally's in New York. She's a member of the Jackhole Nation. Sally, you've got about a minute. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm wearing a skirt, just so you know I'm safe.
Excellent. Well, actually, yeah, that's good. That's good. That keeps us within broadcast standards.
I think we should propose an amendment to the Constitution where the representatives get paid based on the median income of their constituency.
Ooh, that's a good idea. That you know what, you'd see some changes. You'd see definite changes in Congress at that point. The fact of the matter is, here they make a lot of money. They make $174,000+ a year. If they are not, if they're not able to live on that, hashtag they're doing it wrong.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. And besides the fact that, again, we are, as a nation, we are so far in the hole, we can't even see the top edge of the hole. And to be asking for a raise at this point seems asinine at best and foolhardy. There are no adjectives to describe it. Sally, thank you for the phone call. I appreciate it. Thank you for being out there as part of the Jackhole Nation. And thank you for wearing a skirt. But again, since we've broken away from Newsmax for at least the Tuesday, everybody, pantsless Tuesday continues. At least here in the studio, it does. This is your Daily Mojo. We return on the other side, and we can let our hair down again, Ron. What little hair we have left. This is your Daily Mojo.
This is the seditious, rabble-rousing, liberty-loving, home of fun, entertaining, and compelling talk. Mojo 50.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. America is strengthening its military muscle in the turbulent Middle East. 1,000 more U.S. troops being sent to the area following attacks on shipping in the Persian Gulf region and Iran's threat to accelerate its nuclear activities. Senator Tom Cotton says a troop deployment sends a message loud and clear to the Islamic Republic.
Iran needs to understand that if they continue these kinds of attacks on freedom of navigation in the open seas, that there is no military or critical industrial facility that is beyond the reach of the American military. Whatever Iran thinks they can do to the United States or to the civilized world, the American military can do 10 times or 100 times more damage to Iran.
The Arkansas Republican on the Salem Radio Network. President Trump says Mexico and Guatemala are on board, and the only ones who won't do anything to address the crisis on the southern border are the Democrats in Congress. The president writes on Twitter, they must vote to get rid of the loopholes and fix asylum. And Mr. Trump says that starting next week, ICE will begin the process of sending millions of illegal aliens packing. As the president formally announces his 2020 campaign, he's telling voters to ignore some of the latest poll numbers.
The president tweets that his poll numbers are looking really good and that only fake polls show him trailing his Democratic rivals. One of those polls is from Fox News and has Joe Biden beating the president by 10 points in a hypothetical matchup. Predicting a re-election victory, the president says he feels confident about his ability to carry critical states that he won in 2016.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston in Orlando for tonight's Trump rally, at which the president will officially announce his re-election bid. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures higher, Dow futures up 136, NASDAQ futures better by 81 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-452-1075. 800-452-1075. That's 800-452-1075.
Hi, it's Doc Thompson for Matthew 25 Ministries. Matthew 25 Ministries is one of the few charities I'll actually endorse because I know them. I've worked with them, and I know almost all of the money that you donate goes to help people. Go to m25m.org. m25m.org.
Ladies, some of you sickos willingly accept that with the big doe eyes that you don't even need from a Snapchat filter and just look up at R. Kelly and say, give me your best.
The Rancevizzo. United 7. Mojo 50.
Got an old car? You can donate it, whether it's running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation and save a life. They'll even come and pick it up for free. The United Breast Cancer Foundation has saved hundreds of women's lives through their free or low-cost breast screen exams. But now they need your help. The United Breast Cancer Foundation wants to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And donating your old car, SUV, or truck, whether it's running or not, helps pay for them. Plus, you get a charitable tax deduction. Help the United Breast Cancer Foundation save lives by donating your old car, SUV, or truck. Call now for free pickup. 800-245-0823. 800-245-0823. 800-245-0823. Call right now. That number again is 800-245-0823.
This is the Mojo 50 Institute for the Advanced Application of Freedom. Ya bitches. The mothership has landed.
Okay, I'm not sure that in our relationship right now with the Jackhole Nation, I'm not sure we're going to be able to bring the unicorn in to live with us. I think there's a little jealousy up there. I think there's
a little bit.
I think there's some jealousy on our. Let's see, would the Jackhole Nation be our wife or our?
Yeah, you could consider them our spouses.
They are our bitches, right?
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Just saying. Mr. DeCamp Director just tweeted, see callers on Newsmax. That's how you make a good radio call. Start with a joke, get to the point by having one, then end the call. It's not that hard, y'all. See, they're coming down hard on the Newsmaxers. What Lori F&D said, I thought it was Man Titty Tuesday. Am I getting as old as the Newsmax audience? See, now is that nice? Is that nice? Is that we show respect for the guests that we have at our home that come over for dinner. We just do little things like putting on pants and not walking around in our underpants.
Look, there's no reason you can't turn the Newsmax audience into jackholes, right?
Oh, absolutely. But you can't.
There are 70 million of them.
You can't just expose them to what we do all at once.
No. You have to ease into it.
Yes,
slide right on in there.
Just something to do with a tip. I need a tip. Well, I think you get the point. That's all I have to say. So that's all we're doing. It's it's slowly indoctrinating them.
Well, we do want to thank Chris Salcedo.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Chris put our name in for that to sit in for him for the week that he was on vacation. We are thankful.
The beauty of it is we make him look good. We make him look wonderful.
I actually did get some good comments on some of the callers that just called in that didn't necessarily want to be on the air. Hey, where's Chris? Is Chris coming back? Please tell us he's coming back. Yes, ma'am. He's on vacation. Oh. Well, I'm watching you guys. This is pretty good. This is entertaining. Well, thank you very much.
They obviously had the wrong channel.
They don't get to watch us all that much, do they?
The wrong channel on. We're a little bit different. So the question right now is, where do you find an 8.5 million pound boulder? Right where you left it.
Yes.
In Colorado, that's
where God left it.
Yeah. there was a rock slide that came down on Highway 145 up there, and it was going to cost the roads department in that neck of the woods about $200,000 to move this thing that's roughly the size of a small house. And so instead of breaking it up into bits and pieces and hauling it off, they've decided actually to move the road and curve the road around the boulder.
A lot less expensive. Yes.
And now it's going to be a landmark.
Just put a fence around it and move the road.
It's called Memorial Rock now. You see, if this was Texas, they would have, or Dallas specifically, they would have come up with the money because we've obviously came up with money to move Confederate monuments.
Yes.
I mean, we came up with money. The beauty of it is then we sold the Confederate monument. What did we sell that for? Or was it one?
I have no idea. I didn't know we sold any.
Oh yeah, they had an auction for the Confederate monument that they spent
serious
$500,000 down here to move.
Things probably been there for 100 years.
And actually,
or those things, because there were multiples.
And you weren't supposed to, especially the one that was near I think the graveyard. You weren't supposed to move it because it. I think theoretically it was a memorial. Let's see if I can find the story on him then auctioning it off. The Confederate, let's see, I think here it is. Dallas law firm places winning bid for the Robert E. Lee statue. It was $1.4 million. And, wow, I didn't realize it's been 2 years since they took down the Robert E. Lee statue. Holmes Firm PC made the top offer for the bronze sculpture. It's not said what it plans to do with it or whether it is representing someone. See, I think it's probably representing somebody else who wanted it. And you know who I'll bet you bought it? I will bet you that Harlan Crow bought it.
Harlan Crow?
Yes. Trammell Crow Real Estate?
Yes.
He has a...
I started to say not everybody's going to know that name.
No, but he has an incredible collection. He's got like the toppled statue from communist countries, and he's got an incredible collection of these artifacts from history. And I will bet you anything that he bought it, because I think one of the conditions that the city had on whoever won which if I'd been me and I'd paid $1.4 million for it, I would have said, you know what, I'm doing what the hell I want with it. It's my statue and bite me. But I'll bet you he's going to put it in his backyard. Well, I say backyard. Apparently, I've never seen this place, but people who
it's probably like a museum.
Yeah, it is, and it's like a forest of statues.
Oh yeah,
I would love to go there, but then I'd have to wear pants. So there's that. What was I saying before I so rudely interrupted myself? I was making a good point about something, wasn't I? Or was I? There was a video of a gender reveal party, shall we say. This was in Nashville, Tennessee. And to say that it went wrong, I think you could say that. There's a little piece of video from it.
Ready? 4, 3.
Couple standing on their back porch.
1.
And
nailed him.
And as he
popped him right in the jewels.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was supposed to. Did he have it aimed the wrong way, or what happened?
I have no idea, but that hurt. God, dog, that hurt.
It was like a giant. Remember those things that had the little streamers in them? You pull a little string, goes boo, and all the streamers come out.
The caption says, "Guess we're never having kids again."
Yeah, because this thing hit him in the gonads with some force. It looked
twig
like
and berries.
Yeah, and it
boom.
It looked like it was. It did not feel all that
Doubled him right over.
Why
is that so damn funny?
I don't know. And why?
It's only funny when somebody else gets hit in the freaking jump.
And it's funny when it happens to a guy. When the videos on Facebook or on YouTube of the little kid coming and boom, and everybody laughs and laughs. You do that to a woman?
Oh yeah, everybody.
And then you laugh.
Goes,
oh yeah, you don't laugh when a woman gets hit in the junk, which from what I understand, it hurts just as bad as it does if in fact you're a guy. Not being and by the way, when you go through transition surgery from a man to a woman,
right,
at that point, can you get hit in where your junk was and it not hurt anymore?
I don't know. You just said it hurt anyways.
Well, it's about a woman, yes, because they've got, nerves and all that stuff down there. But I mean, with the guy who undergoes the shoop and the foop, I mean, I would think that the nerves get the shoop. That's the official. I don't expect you to
the snip.
Yeah, but then after the snip, you got the foop where they have to do. It's like the snip and tuck, or the snip and stuff. Or whatever.
I don't even know how to answer this question, Brad.
I mean, does it still hurt if they get kicked there? Because I would think, take my foot surgery, for instance, after they operated my foot.
Not the same thing.
Well, not the same thing, but still that area is not, I mean, I don't have the sensation in that part of my foot that I did before. I could, I can touch it and I don't feel it as much. So in that area, would you, once you've had because I mean, that's some pretty severe snipping stuffing that's going on down there.
Brad, it's not the twig that hurts.
I understand that.
It's the berries.
Right.
If the berries aren't there, then logically speaking, it shouldn't hurt anymore.
So
right?
you can kick him in the yazoo and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Which would make you as a transgender.
Can't believe I'm even having this conversation right now.
It's 2019. It is 2019. That's all I'm going to say. The story out of the United Kingdom. One of the leading sex doll manufacturers there. An interesting service, to say the least. And the service is they will make a sex doll in the shape or in the likeness of somebody famous, or in this case, which I think is a little strange, in this case, they will make the love doll in the shape and the likeness of a past loved one.
Oh.
Here's a little bit of the, I guess, the interview with the owner.
Hi, my name is Jade. I'm the owner of sexdollofficial.com. My business rents, sells, and customizes sex dolls.
Oh, by the way, I forgot about the rental part. We'll discuss that here in a second.
Damn, that doll had some jacked up feet. Did you see that?
It had feet.
Look. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
That's just
First offer the rental of sex dolls across the nation. We offer door-to-door white glove service.
Okay. Let's just take this piece by piece because first of all, if you are renting a sex doll, you're doing it wrong. Would you rent a sex doll?
No. Why would I need to rent a sex doll?
I'm not getting into what you do at home, and I'm not doing whatever. But I mean, would you, even if you were into sex doll, would you rent one? I mean, that just seems...
No, that seems nasty.
It seems very unsanitary.
I'm pretty sure they could not get it clean enough for someone such as myself
boiled it in a vat of
bleach. Exactly.
Like hot water, steam, bleach, maybe at that point dip it in some rubbing alcohol.
Throw some kerosene on it.
Which, by the way, that's a misnomer. Never use rubbing alcohol. Ouch. No kerosene. See, you can't do that because it's I think sex dolls being latex.
They'd probably eat it all.
Yeah. So that's problem number one I see with this business is the fact that she is in fact renting sex dolls. And it's not so much that she's renting them. I mean, because good for her. She's a capitalist and she's making some money. It's the people who are actually doing the renting that's a little bothersome, but she continues.
The doll is delivered to your door and you have the doll for 1 week. We also
the things you can do in a week.
offer a customization of the dolls as well, so whatever you desire, you can have.
So if you want to have like a white white sex doll with like a black head, because that'd be a little weird, or if you want to have like a black sex doll with a white head, you can have anything you want. And that's the beauty of it. It is all fantasy. I see your face in there.
No, dude, I'm completely without words right now.
I'm
stuck on the whole renting a sex doll.
The faces look pretty amazing, don't they? I mean, they look realistic. They are. It's still weird.
They're incredibly lifelike. They're made of a TPE, which is a silicon-like substance.
It's cracking me up watching her look at her hand while she touches that doll on the leg. It's funny.
It's a silicon-like substance. you know, what's your girlfriend made of? It's she's made of a silicon-like.
She's so smooth. Her skin is so smooth. It's almost silicon-like.
It's just. She goes on.
It's incredibly durable and very, very lifelike.
It's incredibly durable. Why exactly would you need a durable? I mean, what the hell are you going to do to this thing? It needs to be drag it behind a car? I mean, I guess there are some people that, what they do behind closed doors is up to them, but it's just, of all the things I think of when I think of a sex doll, the ways to describe it, durable does not come into play.
Damn it. The touch. As you can see, they're very flexible. They feel.
Now that, on the other hand, is important. Flexibility. Because, I mean, let's just say you've got dinner scheduled at 5 o'clock and you decide to move dinner to 6 o'clock. And if the doll can't be flexible and say, sure, I can get ready for dinner at 6, I mean, that's important.
I'm sorry, I was going a different way with the whole flexibility. I don't know why.
What were you thinking of? I don't know what. I was just talking about scheduling.
I'm glad she can adjust her schedule.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want a doll that's not you.
Apparently, a rented sex doll schedule is pretty freaking busy.
Mm-hmm. These are every week. She
so lifelike, it's untrue.
That's about the third time she said so lifelike, just if you're keeping track.
And they're also very easy to clean as well.
Brad, pause that.
Yes.
You see how modest they've got these things set up?
Yes,
the one
I
on the
do.
far right.
Yes, it's got her.
Got little pasties on. She got her junk.
Got her hoo-ha covered. Got her hands over her hoo-ha. She's wearing pasties.
They must have gone through before the interview and said, okay, yeah, we can't show all of this.
Why? Well, why? It's a doll.
Because two stupid show hosts in Texas are going to show it on the internet. We can't show all that.
Again, it's okay.
Oh,
may
man.
and then just for if you're listening to the podcast, let me describe the, or better yet, Ron, describe the doll that she is sitting next to.
So this doll is, I don't know, she's probably about 5'8".
How the hell can you tell she's sitting down?
I'm just going there. She got skinny legs, really skinny arms, jacked up fingers, a jacked up head.
When you say jacked up fingers, what is that?
Look at them all twisted there.
That is.
She ain't the most beautiful in the face doll, but I'm going to tell you, that doll is cold and got some big old holes in her dress.
Yes, she does. She looks durable. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I look at her. She is. That woman is durable looking. She's
she can be.
She is durable.
God. Rode hard and put up wet.
They have a cleaning service for that too, I think.
I'm sure they do.
Now, see, what bothers me as a professional in the broadcast industry is the fact that she apparently has 2 horns growing out of the top of her head, but that's just me. I don't know what the hell that is, but
Izzo said I was in a band called Black-Headed White Sex Dolls. It was a tribute band to Ambrosia.
I have David Pack, by the way, was the lead singer of Ambrosia. You're welcome.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so this doll, I find it interesting that they tried to make the other dolls look modest when, in fact, this doll looks like she is standing in the freezer section of Costco.
Yes.
Wearing...
But very little.
A bandana. Covering every part of her. Just one single bandana covering every part of her. But did she finish what she was saying? Because I feel bad for interrupting.
Slightly heavy, so that they are lifelike. So
Whoa, hang on a second.
And they're also very easy to clean as well. They have to be slightly heavy, so that they are lifelike. So they all weigh about 50 kilos.
Is that a lot?
I don't know. We didn't go to the metric system over here.
Damn it. Hold on.
50 kilos. I bet that's about 110 pounds.
Is it? 50. So if you go home and you tell you, hey, honey, you look 50 kilos to pounds is how much you say?
I said 110.
Damn.
What is it?
110.2.
Yeah.
Look at you.
It's a perfect weight.
How'd you know?
Isn't that for a sex doll?
Well, you just saved your bacon right there, didn't you?
No, I'm pretty sure I did not, actually.
Wow. So the sex doll weighs 100. So you better be 110 pounds. I mean, you got to lug that around. You got especially if you have an upstairs. You got to be in decent shape to haul one of these bad boys up.
But they're very easy to manipulate.
And again, you know, if you're going to talk sex dolls and rental, you want to make sure that they are easy to manipulate. And by manipulate, I think that she's probably referring, I would say, to, if you need to get her to clean the house or whatever, you just tell her that it's you're doing it for the good of society.
Quite certain that's not the manipulation she's talking about.
I don't know what other manipulation it would be. And it's funny that as we discuss sex dolls, that Rusty Lugnuts would be on the telephone. Rusty, how can you add? Please add to the please class up the conversation a little bit.
I wanted to explain durable to you. Now, with Lusty, she's inflatable, so she's not really
she's
durable.
not durable. That's right.
Okay.
If you get on top of her and start humping, you're going to damage her. You're going to break her. She's going to blow a hole in her, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can see that. So durability has to do with the fact that you can't blow a hole in them.
Well, you can't.
Perhaps
you can't be jumping up and down on top of them. You know what I mean?
That's right. Dolls
at least not her.
Dolls like Lusty cannot be rented. They will not be because somebody might pop her.
Exactly. So
wow.
does this company? They're calling them sex dolls. They're not calling them companions.
Let's see. It is woman, blah, 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 lifelike dolls. She's calling them, no, she's just saying they're sex dolls. But the really weird thing is that you can get them not only in the, you can get a famous porn star, their face put on one, or you can actually get let's say that,
who's your favorite actress? There you go.
Or somebody who's dead. Maybe it's a family member who has died. You can get their likeness put on this sex doll head.
Yep.
I wonder if they have a Bridget the Midget model.
Well, she wouldn't weigh as much. We can safely assume that, so you'd have that. And does she even have a face? I don't know. But, yeah. So, well, if that's, is that your way of classing up the place, Rusty?
No, that's about all I got.
Best you got. All right. Well, thank you for the effort anyway. I just think it's creepy that you get somebody that's dead. I mean, you've got
yeah, but why would you want a dead loved one?
Well,
right? Maybe a spouse.
I'm thinking,
okay,
yes,
I can
your
see
spouse,
that.
But still, that's a little
cousin Jenny.
I hadn't thought about that. They don't have to be dead, do they?
No. Were the Pultitsky cousins?
The Pultitsky twins. You could get them.
Were they cute? I don't remember.
Yes. Are you kidding?
Look, they make one in Scarlett Johansson's likeness already.
Does it talk?
No, it doesn't talk. Now, see, that's the perfect Brad. The ideas are coming, buddy.
Now, they don't eat, so that's a plus. So even if you had them over and you had
no money spent other than buying her.
Nope. You could whip up a batch of Mojo wild rice. You could cook up something tasty, and you could have it dinner.
Waffles in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a slow ring, right?
That's I was contemplating all
the
of
waffle.
Yes,
Yeah,
don't ever. And by the way, yes,
don't ever
Google blue waffle. Do not Google it. We have set that precedent in the past. But if you go to Mojo Wild Rice and you use the promo code Grill10, you'll save on the entire complement of your summer grilling companion there, and you'll have the added benefit of the sex doll not eating a bite of it. That's the bit. They never gain weight. And neither will you. I mean, if you are sensible and you eat good food like Mojo Wild Rice, you're eating well.
You know, Brad, this could be a form of exercise.
Just dragging the sex doll up and down the stairs?
Yes.
Over your shoulder, 110 pounds is not easy to lug. I'm telling you, you knock somebody out, and you know how hard they are to carry? They're like dead weight over your shoulder. Not that I would know. I mean, don't even bother trying to look into my past that way, because it's not. Or Ron's, for that matter. But, yeah, I'd be 110 pounds up and down the stairs. So you get the sex doll, you carry it up and down stairs, kind of like a marine drill. Just everybody up over your shoulder, whoop, up the stairs, down the stairs. Then you stop. You got to have a good source of protein. That's where you get your Mojo Wild Rice. Maybe make something out on the grill. Put some chicken with it. You have a nice little, I don't know if I'd invite my friends over for this. I think maybe it's just you and your doll. After all, there's more to eat for you. MojoWildRice.com, proud sponsor of the past half hour of the program. Please show them a little love by going to MojoWildRice.com. Show yourself a little love. Probably not the best term, but use Grill 10 to get 10%. Is it 10% off? Hell, I can't keep them all straight now.
There's a lot of them. I think it's 10%.
I think it's 10% off. Not to be confused with the CBD oils where you can use Mojo 50 to get 25% off, right?
Correct.
Or $15
That's $15 off.
See? That, and you wonder why I'm confused?
You know what just dawned on me?
Oh, boy.
The Jackal Nation loves us so much that they sent us a blow-up doll. Do they love us enough to send us one of these?
I don't even know how much these are, but they're certainly durable. And I mean, it would be well worth their money.
It would be.
Because you can actually see the trouble with Lusty in the studio here in the Mojo 50 Freedom Dojo was
Angelina
the fact that,
Jolie, please.
Yeah, she would not sit on the couch. You had to stand Lusty up. And even then, her knees, she's a lot like handicapped.
We couldn't sit her in a chair.
She's like, she must be related to handicapped Jeff. Her knees don't bend either. And neither do Jeff's. So I think maybe they possibly come from the same family.
I'm just going to leave that right there, Jeff. Love you, buddy.
Haven't even thought about that, but I think they might be possibly related. Big Pharma Steve just tweeted at Real Von Phil. It was the Candy Cousins. No, it's the Poltitsky twins. I don't know where you people get all this. World of Spots renting sex dolls to start their own gym like CrossFit. Strangely, the only members are firefighters and teenage boys. But you know what? That's not okay. So what's wrong yet? Think about that. Teenage boys. You don't have to worry about teen pregnancies. You don't have to worry about the spread of disease.
So I think they're starting the GoFundMe page now to get us a better sex doll. That's what I'm hearing.
There you go. And Zig, the Jackal Gator sex doll bench press, the newest addition to your home gym from Bowflex. Love the Jackal. It's your Daily Mojo.
High capacity, fully automatic, large caliber, Freedom. Mojo 50.
I'm Mike Opelka from PureOpelka.com. Here's your 2-minute drill. Joe Biden is a power-hungry swamp dweller. You need to look no further than Joe Biden's initial years in the swamp of Washington, D.C. In 1973, a young Biden was speaking to a crowd in Ohio and talking about politics.
And in my opinion, politics need not necessarily be a dirty word. Politics should be the most honorable of professions.
Wait, did I get this wrong? Is Joe Biden really a guy who thinks politics are a wonderful, honorable profession? Listen.
Those of you who are doctors and lawyers and Indian chiefs in the audience, how can any of you possibly do as much good if you're very good at what you do as I can do if I'm very good at what I can do?
Were there really Indian chiefs in the audience? Yeah, I know. He was just using a figure of speech, but let's hear that one more time.
Those of you who are doctors and lawyers and Indian chiefs in the audience, how can any of you possibly do as much good if you're very good at what you do as I can do if I'm very good at what I can do? You can't. So the point is, this is where the action is.
Biden's all about where the action is and the power and all of that. In fact, a year later, he told Kitty Kelly that politicians could take away your precious First Amendment right. Yeah, he said it. Pay attention. It's important. Testudo, my friends. Testudo.
Mike Opelka's 2-minute drill is powered by MojoWildRice.com. Their wild rice is a superfood. Gluten, sodium, fat, and cholesterol-free, yet high in fiber, protein, zinc, phosphorus, and trace minerals. But you're going to love it because it's delicious. MojoWildRice.com. MojoWildRice.com.
The Daily Mojo.
Things in China are not good. There is an earthquake there. It has killed 12, injured 134. 6.0 magnitude earthquake, southwest China. They continue to pull bodies, survivors from wrecked buildings. More than 1,000 people were relocated as a large number of structures were damaged or collapsed after the quake struck late yesterday near Yibin in the Sichuan province. So, wow, hope things get better there in China. Also, and this is troubling. This is
this deal with Iran's getting a little stickier.
The U.S. announced yesterday they're preparing to send 1,000 troops to the Middle East as tensions with Iran continue to increase. You know what they say? War is good for business. And at least that's what they used to say. I'm not sure anymore. The announcement from Acting Secretary of Defense Patrick Shanahan comes after the U.S. blamed Iran for the attack on two tankers in the Gulf. Iran continues to deny responsibility, but again, I don't understand. I still have not, no one's been able to explain this to me, why they would continue to, why they said they would stop traffic in that area if they could, in that shipping lane. They said that back in April that they would try to stop it. But then when it happens, they don't take responsibility. It just seems to me Iran would.
And usually these radical people, they will claim.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, that this was us. They wanted the name recognition.
Yep.
I think it's funny that Iran won't do that, even though their threats were there.
Yeah.
So it's like they're backpedaling on the threats, right?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Now, the conspiracy theorists out there are claiming it's a false flag. That, and I have no idea. I mean, there's just
false flag, as in Japan blew their own crap up. What?
As in the United States. And
blaming Iran. Yeah, I got you.
I don't know. It's the bottom line is this: we're starting to send troops over that way. I mean, if tensions escalate, and the last thing we need is another war. And we've got our we've got people spread out across the globe, but I will see how that.
I'm not sure we can call them wars anymore. Really, I mean, unless I'm mistaken. Any, quote, war that we've been in the last 25, 30 years has always been very short from a...
Well, look at the Iraq war. It's technically...
I know it's still going on.
It's still going on for, what, 8... Isn't it technically the longest war we've ever been in?
And I guess a lot of it comes from how TV portrays wars, so that, it's always ongoing. Yes, I got that. But what I'm saying is like the initial hit, if you will,
right,
typically only lasts a week or two because you damn near blow everything up
right
in that time frame.
Well, and
then it's just a matter of trying to take over and move people out where they don't need to be.
Isn't it a war until there is a truce or a peace agreement signed?
I think you're right.
I think that's technically the only thing that ends a war. But I think right now, and again, follow the money in any of these situations. The reason that we are still in the conflict in Iraq, which, by the way, has done how much good? As long as we are still technically at war, Congress can appropriate funds. For
until there's
until there's what?
I started saying until there's a peace treaty, like you mentioned, you just fly the Enola Gay over there and get that done.
Well, even then, with Iraq, what have we accomplished? I mean, it's still the situation over there is still unstable.
Policing the other country.
It'll always be unstable. For eternity, it will be unstable in that area of the country. That is just the way that area of the country is. So that's for bigger minds than mine to figure out. These are kind of where I came across these the other day. Some of the origins of our things that we know quite well today, like the origin of the best man. Why do you have a best man at your wedding? And this one was weird. They say back in the primitive days of marriage by capture, and if you go Game of Thrones, perfect example, arranged marriages, and in a lot of cases they I liked her, we'll take her, grab her. Kidnapping women from neighboring communities was the job of the best man. He was the best man to go and grab her and kidnap her, along with his posse, his other gang. Customary for Germanic Goths of the 16th century United Kingdom to marry local women, but once potential prospects became scarce, they took to pillaging neighboring townships to find their one and only with their best man or men, since kidnapping was hardly a one-man job, they said. So that's where the term best man came from. Kind of different than what we use a best man for today.
Yeah, and in some weddings, the best man ends up being the sleepover, if you will.
Well, there's that. You ever been a best man at a wedding?
Have I been a best man? I don't think I've been a best man at a wedding. I've had 2 best men at my weddings.
Yeah.
How many have you had?
If once you don't succeed, try again. I've been, let's see, if I've been the best man at, I think one. I think one. I've actually officiated a wedding.
What?
I know, right?
Are you the Reverend Bradley J. Stacks?
Well, technically it was my nephew, and he, when they got married, it was in Colorado, and in Colorado, if you're getting married, once you go to
the internet and get your license.
Yeah, once you get the license, as the couple, once you get your marriage license, you're married. So anything beyond that point is
you just perform the ceremony.
Yeah. So I just
where's that? Colorado?
I think so. Yeah, at least that's the way it was back in the day.
No kidding.
Years ago. Yeah. So I got to stand up there and say some words, say some pretty words. They're still married today. So guess what? I got to touch.
I want to know how many people have had Elvis marry them. Like in the drive-up Whitechapel there in Vegas, where Elvis sticks his head out the drive-through window.
Oh, thank you very much.
I now pronounce you man and wife. Thank you very much.
You take him on. Thank you. You kiss the bride. Thank you very much. Hey, come on inside. I'll show you something. It would be memorable. Why not? At least to give you something to remember if you ever get divorced. Remember when we got married? The pinky swear, the pinky promise, the practice of...
I do that with my kids.
Okay. The interesting...
doesn't work, but I do it.
Allegedly, this practice originated in Japan, specifically with the Yakuza, the Japanese mafia. The concept known as yubikiri. Yubikiri. You
sounds too much like you pinky ring,
right? It sounds like sushi is what it sounds like. Apparently has its background in loyalty among the Yakuza, where a little finger would be cut off as the result of dishonesty or betrayal. So next time you are pinky swearing with your kids, just think, all right, here you go, pinky swear. Remember, if you lied to me, I'm cutting your finger off. Just saying. They say it adds a morbid spin. They're not, and this is again to whatculture.com, so take it with a grain of salt. We all know about trick-or-treating on Halloween. There was another one in here I wanted to shaking hands. I told you this one the other day. Ron came in here to shake my hand. Gentle kiss on the forehead. We usually do before the cameras roll.
You liked it.
The practice of shaking hands is one that needs... little introduction, of course. The issue was handshaking traced back to ancient Egypt. It was essentially to make sure that
you weren't carrying a weapon.
You didn't have a weapon. It's the same issue with a salute, military salute. That stems back from the face shield on a suit of armor. You
have to lift it up,
it up to be able to see the face of the person behind the armor and to know if they were a friend or a foe. So by shaking hands, they in fact would know that their opponent didn't have, or whoever they were shaking hands with didn't have a weapon. The bridesmaid at a wedding back in ancient Rome, when weddings had to have 10 witnesses. Good grief. Being a bridesmaid came with a greater sacrifice, not just the ugly dress. Apparently it was, here's why the bridesmaids have to wear the matching ugly dresses in order to confuse evil spirits. The wedding would be ruined by malignant forces.
I'm sorry. They have to wear the ugly dresses to confuse the evil spirits.
It was the fact that they were wearing dresses that all looked alike. The evil spirits who would tend to invade the ceremony would be confused as to who the bride was.
Wouldn't pick out the bride wearing the white gown separate and apart from all the other bridesmaids.
Apparently, they had to wear it back in the day. They had to wear gowns that looked like the bride. So they're, and hey, let's face it. Remember, the whole idea behind wearing the white gown doesn't always hold true today.
That's true.
Just saying. You want to wear a lie? You go right ahead. It's on your conscience, not mine. But that's why they would do it, is to confuse ancient or evil spirits. So there you go. There's the origin of a few weird things in life. Back over on the Twitter, Booth Babing Slug, what's the difference between rating for brides and the bachelor party? In most cases, both require best man. I'll tell you the one weird thing that happened to me this time. Yeah, this is the first time. We had the little, party, the best man and the wedding party, the guys that we went to. I don't know, maybe, and this may be why I to this day have a little problem with strip clubs. They took me to the strip club and handcuffed me to the stage.
What?
Yeah. I mean, there are worse places to be handcuffed, don't get me wrong. But yes, they handcuffed me to the stage at the strip club and then left.
Did they at least give you some singles?
Nope. And they did eventually come back, but yeah, I was there for a short time, long enough. I'll just leave it there. All right, and a little update on the David Ortiz shooting. This is so weird that it continues. But by the way, there's been another tourist killed in the Dominican Republic, which is a shame because the Dominican Republic is a beautiful place, and it's a shame that it's being ruined down there. Authorities have identified yesterday a man they believe paid hitmen to try to kill David Ortiz. He, by the way, is resting in Boston. And on the mend. They said that they were closing in on the mastermind and the motive behind the shooting. They still don't know exactly what it is. The man was identified as Alberto Miguel Rodriguez Mota. Whew, that's a lot of names. It takes him a while to sign a check. The authorities say he's a fugitive. The announcement was made as a judge held a hearing closed to the public for another suspect nicknamed Bone. This is going to have, I don't know which way it's going to go, but this is going to be a weird story when all the details come out. Officials did not release said details, but according to documents, the man whose real name is another one, Gabriel Alexander Perez Vizcaino. That's why they just call him Bone. It's much easier. He is accused of being the liaison between the alleged hitman and the person who paid them. The documents state the man, who is in prison for an unrelated case, reached out to Perez for the hit job a week before they shot him, and sent them a picture of Ortiz. This is all very strange. Now, here's where it starts to go south. The documents state that Perez sold a gold-colored iPhone 6 used to plan the attack to a woman for $180. And he did this to get rid of the evidence a day after the shooting. Hashtag you're doing it wrong. If you have evidence, if you have a cell phone that is traceable, and you've made calls to certain hitmen, and you've made plans and used this to text people and to call people that are in on the plot, it is best not to be trying to grab every last cent you possibly. I mean, you're not going to we don't want to throw it in the ocean. Yes, you do want to throw it in the ocean. Take the hit, idiot. But instead, he sold the phone for $180 to hide the evidence. Okie dokie. So we're not dealing with Rhodes Scholars in this case. She, on the other hand, the woman who bought it, hey, she got a nice iPhone for $180. Good for her. Yeah, he did. He sold it to her after he found out police were looking for him. So instead of throwing the phone in the ocean or crushing it and throwing it into a volcano somewhere, he sold it for $180. There you have it. He is one of he is one of 10 people that authorities have detained. They're looking for at least 2 others mentioned in the doc. What in the hell was Ortiz mixed up in down there? Seriously, I mean, if there was a hit out on Ortiz, and so far we're up to like 12 people involved in this conspiracy, whatever it was, to take him out. What was he into? I mean, is this just mistaken? No, it's not mistaken identity because the guy in jail or in prison actually sent out a picture of Ortiz saying, here's the guy we want. So it's not mistaken identity. They have said the coordinator of the attack was offered 400,000 Dominican pesos. Well, that's a lot of money. If you start thinking 400, that's $7,800 US. That's what he was paid to orchestrate the shooting of Ortiz. He, by the way, update on his condition. They removed his gallbladder, part of his intestines. He's in Boston now. But for $7,800, and down there, that's some decent coin. What in the hell were they? What was he into? What was going on when they decided that they needed to take Ortiz off the face of the planet? Something very strange. I don't know what it was, but it was something odd. If you have not yet gone to thegunbox.com, please do so. If you need and everyone does, truly, everybody does need a safe place to store their weapon. If you are a responsible gun owner and you have a handgun that you keep with you at your bedside, if you in fact have a gun you travel with, sometimes those wow, it's still sold out. Wow, the Echo is real popular. It's sold out on their site. But if you travel with your weapon and you are looking for a new safe to travel with, the Gunbox makes one. Obviously, so popular, it's sold out right now. The 2.0 is also available. It is not sold out at the moment. This is an incredible. Not only is it incredibly safe, but it's an incredibly effective gun safe, and it is stylish looking. So it really doesn't even look like a gun safe. It looks like if I was going to say it looked like anything, it looks like a computer hard drive. It really does. It's just they're good looking. They're very good looking gun safes. And the beauty of having a gun box is that you can sign up for their alert system, which means that if you're not home and somebody messes with your gun box, somebody tries to break into it, someone tries to even if they move it. If they jiggle it, if they touch it, if they look at it sideways, you will get an alert on your cell phone telling you that somebody's messing with your gun box. And you can take the appropriate action. And the other thing that's nice about these is the fact there are multiple ways to gain entry into them when you know the secret. You can use either the fingerprint ID. You can use the keypad there. So whatever you're more comfortable with. The RFID unlock is just the coolest in the world. You just wave the RFID device, and there are several you can use. Wave it over the top, and boop, the door opens right up, and you have instant access to your weapon. So especially if it's in the middle of the night and you don't want to have to think about it, you just boop right across there, and you have got your weapon at literally in half a second.
I'm sorry, how's that again? Boop. Just like that.
Yeah. It's kind of like booping somebody on the. You can actually get to your weapon faster than you can boop somebody on the nose.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
That's pretty spot on,
That
man.
is fast.
And you want to make sure you have that opportunity if somebody's breaking into your house.
Boop. And see, that's the thing that the criminals listen for is the boop. Uh-oh. It's you think the racking of a shotgun will scare them? When they hear boop, they're gone. You may not even have to aim a gun at them. Go to thegunbox.com and use Mojo50 as your discount code. You'll get 10% off at thegunbox.com. This is interesting. A news story just saw come up. The State Department has revealed in a letter to Senator Chuck Grassley that it had identified multiple security incidents committed by current or former employees who handled Hillary Clinton's emails. According to Fox News, so far 23 violations and 7 infractions have been issued as a part of the department's ongoing investigation, a number that will likely rise, according to State Department Assistant Secretary in the Bureau of Legislative Affairs. And the president just literally a minute ago tweeted this. Let's see, an hour ago. The president tweeted, wow, the State Department said it has identified 30 security incidents involving current or former employees and their handling of crooked Hillary Clinton's emails. This is really big, never admitted before, highly classified material. Will the Dems investigate this? That's what the president just tweeted. Taylor is the Assistant Secretary in the Bureau of Legislative Affairs, Mary Elizabeth Taylor. That's an interesting name. She called the matter serious and acknowledged it was time-consuming. Given the volume of emails provided to the department from former Secretary Clinton's private email server, the department's process has been necessarily more complicated and complex, requiring a significant dedication of time and resources. This could be interesting. If you read between the lines here, this could be the opening few pages of what could turn out to be a very interesting novel on Hillary Clinton and her private server at her home. In every instance in which the department found an individual to be culpable of a valid security violation of 3 or more infractions, the department forwarded the outcome. So many words. They forwarded the outcome to the Bureau of Diplomatic Security's Office of Personnel. Good God, are we paying for that too? The Bureau of Diplomatic Security's Office of Personnel Security and Suitability. What in the hell is their budget every year?
Right?
Wow. And we wonder why as I look to my left and I see the national debt now standing at $22,386,919,850,60,70,80,92,000.
I'm sorry, were you going up or going down on that?
I was going.
That's going up. Thank you.
That was going way up, wasn't it? Yeah, 200, 300, 250, 60, 70, 80, 90, 300, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That's how fast it's going up by the tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So with all that money, I mean, we're paying people at the Bureau of Diplomatic Security's Office of Personnel Security and Suitability, or simplified, the DS/PSS. We're never climbing out of this debt hole. It's apparent. So anyway, the bottom line is this. It looks like there's some activity in the Clinton email scheme, and whether or not they are going to continue to follow this, we'll see. I mean, sure, they can take all the resources they want to, and they can follow the president, and they can investigate every little thing every time he sneezed. I'm sure his aide don't sneeze in his presence. But they can take every resource possible and try to find out what he did 12 years ago, and who he slept with and everything else. And oh my God, he would listen to a foreign entity provide information that may or may not be relevant in terms of political opponents, without going to the FBI. Treason, hang him. But something like this comes out where there's actually evidence. I mean, physical evidence and evidence that is pointing to certain individuals whose, won't name any names, but it rhymes with Clinton.
Clinton. Is that an actual word?
Clinton. I believe that is the on an airplane. Little. Sometimes you see those little things sticking up on the wings. Those are Clintons.
Really?
Sure. Don't Google it.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to. I just told you what it was. There's no reason for you to Google it.
Copy that.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to find out whether or not they decide to follow this one. I think with the Attorney General now, I think the Attorney General is... I think Barr is pissed. I think that when they decided to slap him with the contempt of Congress,
right?
They knew. I mean, it's political theater is all it is, and I think Barr is pissed, and I think he's spending his off hours figuring out exactly how he can not only do what's right and actually serve justice, but make their lives miserable at the same time.
I wouldn't blame him.
What a shame.
Yeah, right.
What a shame. You ready?
They'll go after her.
Oh,
they will.
It would be nice to see, but will she ever see the inside of a jail cell? Doubt it. Time will tell, though. I hate to wrap it up since you just got here, but
yeah,
let's wrap it up.
Well, Ron called me. He said he had to go to the bathroom real bad, and if I could come up here and run the board real quick. And I was like, sure.
He'll be there for hours.
Yeah, so I'm just going to be hanging out here.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up.
Okay, so what button is that?
I don't know. The one in there says wrap it up.
20 minutes, let's go!
Yep. That's the one. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. The end of Doc Thompson's Daily Mojo. But before we go, as always, let's find out what we learned today. By the way, I wonder if the Newsmax audience would be entertained by the train horn. You never know. We learned that unicorns are real and incredibly hot. There's got to be something wrong with that unit. By the way, that is a reference back in hour one. So if you're listening to the program in reverse, wait until you get there. It's going to blow you away. We learned the worst thing you can do in life is send Ron a lifelike sex doll in the form of, what was her name? Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie. Why is that the worst thing in the world?
That's the worst possible thing you can possibly do. Do not send that to him. Don't be horrible people. Don't be uncaring individuals. Don't ever send that to him. And we learned finally that Newsmax continues to set their standards low for their fill-in hosts. At least until tomorrow. We'll find out exactly what they think. Yeah, well, there's that. Ron, did you learn anything?
He said he didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
He's done. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks for taking part. Appreciate that.
No, I'll tell you what I learned.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that there are a lot of callers that are above the age of 50 during that hour.
Is that a bad thing?
Actually, it's not. They're pretty good callers.
Okay. Well, and by the way, Leprechaun, I just tried to hit the link. Page you're looking for could not be found. So I'm trying to play Leprechaun's bell count, and for whatever reason, it does not want to, it will not take me there. That Jay learned if I was going to work for a government agency, it would be the DSPSS. Pronounce that dispus. Did he send a new one? I don't know. Let's see. Jill Hollis in Seattle learned to enhance the sex dolls previously talked about with the looking at you sideways sensor of the gun box that triggers waterworks that have a highly flirty sex doll that many would likely see. That is what I love about capitalism. All you do is throw out the germ of an idea, and the entire Jackhole Nation comes up with ways to enhance it and to make it better. And Mojo Jedi learned that Handy J and Lusty Jillhole may be related. You missed that part, didn't you?
Yeah, I guess I did.
We'll
talk off air?
We might.
Okay.
We might, if you can catch me. And Zig the Jackhole Gator learned, not sure Big Papi was into anything. I bet that guy was just a diehard Yankee fan. Wow. That is a tough room when it comes to sports, if that's the case. We will get to those new numbers on procrastination as soon as Doc Thompson returns from his Florida vacation. Your Daily Mojo today, by the way, has been a Ron Phillips and then a last-minute stand-in by Handy J Production. You make sure that wherever you go, whatever you do, you live by the 5 rules. You got a shot of being right and being happy. Good night, Doc Thompson. That's where you say wherever you are.
Wherever you are.
You suck at the close. What is wrong with you? Gee, we'll do it again tomorrow.
This is the seditious, rabble-rousing, liberty-loving, home of fun, entertaining, and compelling talk. Mojo 50.
Views this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Tonight promises to be a big night for supporters of President Trump.
The president makes his 2020 White